Kim Kardashian recently shared how she makes sure her kids aren't finishing all their Halloween candy. In an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live ahead of her American Horror Story Delicate Part 2 finale, the 43-year-old reality star and entrepreneur shared with Kimmel what it was like growing up next to Madonna in her childhood and adult years, and what it's like trick-or-treating with the Material Girl singer. Kimmel's like, I would imagine this is like a celebrity neighborhood, but like, you've got good candy, right? Kim was like, yes, and then Kimmel was like, Madonna allowed her kids to eat candy? She seems very healthy. And Kim was like, yeah, absolutely, she's very healthy. But I mean, I take it and then I throw it away, or I donate it. Kimmel was like, okay, so if you take away your kid's candy, next time videotape it. I'd like to have it. Kind of a hobby of mine, which obviously he was referring to his viral segment where every year, the day after Halloween, parents videotape their kids, telling them they ate all their candy, they send him the video, he plays it, and people laugh, or so I'm told. Apparently with fame comes the right to be slobs, at least according to the Kardashian housekeepers, who claim the girls never clean up after themselves, yet expect their rooms and closets to always be camera ready. Well, there's no doubt that the Kardashian women are busy with their multiple shows, their families, numerous business ventures. Some folks have argued that they don't have the right to be so demanding of the housekeepers who help to tend their homes, which I agree. This even led to a lawsuit in 2021, as reported by NBC News, with 7 workers, not 1, not 2, but 7, claiming that Kim Kardashian failed to pay overtime, cover expenses, and provide legally mandated breaks, while expecting her housekeepers to always be on call to pick up after her. Look, if you want luxury services, you've got to pay luxury prices. That's how it is. You've got to pay overtime. You got to pay expenses. You have to provide breaks. Legally mandated for a reason. Shayna Moakler, Travis Barker's ex-wife, went on a podcast and claimed that Kim Kardashian hooked up with him, which is a major bombshell considering Travis is now married to Kim's sister Kourtney. Not only that, but there was allegedly cheating involved. Yeah, Shayna claimed that Travis was seeing Kim behind her back and that Kim played a major part in the breakdown of their marriage. Now, this was during an appearance on the Dumb Blonde podcast, and Shayna revealed that she and Travis were working on their relationship when she was sent text messages between him and Kim from some anonymous source. What did those text messages say? They were trying to meet up at her sister's house to do the deed. Now, apparently when she showed the text to Travis, he had already deleted them. So yeah, she had reason to be suspicious. But what people can't seem to get over about this story is the fact that Travis might have been interested in Kim before he was into Kourtney. And that's something that would promote hurt feelings all around. But like, is Kim Kardashian really a homewrecker? Would she really go after her sister's man and not put it on TV? I don't know. Sounds unlikely to me. I feel like this should have been a storyline of some sort on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They say that as you get more and more famous, you get more and more lonely and isolated. Like, Kim K used to have a lot of high-profile celebs on her list of friends. We're talking Beyonce, even Taylor Swift for a hot minute. But her former assistant Stephanie revealed that Beyonce and Kim had quite the feud and often badmouthed each other, which hasn't become like super known because they did it privately in their homes. Stephanie also said that Kim has a hard time keeping friends because she thinks she's better than everybody else, and she tries to be better than everybody else too. Let's see, we've got a whole list of people that she's cut off over the years. Jordan Woods, Blac Chyna, and Drake. It's easy to judge someone who has a big ego, but would any of us act different in Kim's situation? Most of us will ever know, but like, why would you think you're better than your friends? According to a March 2023 Bloomberg Businessweek report, Kim was questioned by the feds as part of this crazy investigation into the big Malaysian financier. I think his name is Zhou Lo, who was a mogul at the center of the big infamous 1MDB fund embezzlement scandal. So US prosecutors alleged that Lo had stolen at least 4.5 billion from One Malaysia Development Berhad, which was founded and led by a former prime minister. The Justice Department indicted Lo in 2018 for conspiring to launder billions of dollars stolen from the development fund and paying out hundreds of millions of dollars in bribes. And since then, he's been like a fugitive. I think he's living in China. In 2019, Kim told the FBI that she once played Baccarat in a Las Vegas casino with Lo and others, and she ended up winning big. Now, he told her, keep your chips, which were worth $350,000. And she told the FBI that when she went to the casino counter to cash out, she was handed $250,000 in a trash bag full of $100 bills. So she put the trash bag full of cash in her carry-on bag and boarded a Southwest Airlines flight back to LA. Once again, sketch. On a later trip to Vegas, Kim collected the remaining $100K, again, in a trash bag. Look, I don't know a lot of big gamblers, but this sounds sketchy. Don't you think? Let me know in the comments. The Kardashians are known to take many extravagant vacations and ventures, and one memorable visit to Bora Bora on Keeping Up with the Kardashians People will know about it. Well, there, Kim reportedly lost her diamond earrings, leading the whole family to search the water for her prized jewelry. Naturally, losing something of such great worth and importance brought plenty of viewers in and sparked a lot of discussion online about the episode. Everybody was worried. Where's Kim's earring? Seriously, like, there's people who have never seen a whole episode of the show, but if you quoted them, "Kim, there's people dying," they'd roar laughing. I'm not even a super fan. I quote it all the time. But the problem here, according to RadarOnline.com, Kim's ex-husband, Kris Humphries, said it didn't actually happen. Kim didn't lose her earrings. The move was a publicity stunt to get views. While this surely wasn't the only time Keeping Up with the Kardashians created a false moment, the lost earrings are a prime example of the lack of reality in the reality show. It also shows viewers should reserve judgment and sympathy when something happens on the show, since it might be fabricated for views, which is something we'll talk about more in a moment. We all know reality TV is quasi-scripted by this point in our lives. If you didn't, my bad. But like, when something is this heavily scripted, it's just annoying. When you hear about the Kardashians, you probably automatically assume they're entitled divas, and sadly, you're not wrong. Reports have surfaced that the Kardashians, especially the younger generation, were very kind to the camera crew when Keeping Up with the Kardashians first started in 2007. But as the show progressed, the family got a lot more famous, their kindness and respect for the crews they worked with dwindled, causing unpleasant and unfriendly moments, to say the least, behind the scenes. Ah yes, when fame and money reveal people's true colors. According to The Sun, the Kardashians repeatedly berate crew members and make unreasonable demands on anybody in their path. Additionally, the girls often try to direct what happens or demand multiple reshoots of simple moments on the show to place themselves in the best light they can, at the expense of the rest of the family and crew. Well, after learning how poorly they treat their staff, this probably isn't like a big surprise revelation to anybody, but like it's not a good thing, and probably something the girls want to keep under wraps. One of the most talked about events of Keeping Up with the Kardashians was Kim's extremely short-lived marriage to Kris Humphries. This marriage lasted less than 3 months and commanded headlines for like months if not years following the split. The whole situation was awkward and Humphries reportedly felt betrayed by Kim, feeling that the marriage was all in the name of ratings. The 72-day wedding will forever live on in infamy. And when you consider there's no such thing as bad publicity, I guess it was a boon for the girls. Why would they waste all that time and money? No. Why would you waste all that time and money if it wasn't gonna work out? Who knows? According to the Washington Post, the marriage was meant for just PR, just to drive awareness and ratings for the show. In fact, Kim wanted her goodbye to Humphries to be on the show, but producers were like, it's a little much. These days, Humphries wants nothing to do with the family and has asked to be completely omitted from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Sorry dude, wish you all the best away from this circus. This is probably one of the worst kept secrets, but it's worth mentioning. So easily one of the most controversial moments in the Kardashian saga is the release of Kim's intimate tape with Ray J. When the tape was first leaked, Kim sued the company to keep it out of the public eye. But a lot of folks have pointed out that Kim has made an impressive $5 million from the home movie. And it's possible that this leak was a publicity move. In fact, Ray J himself said it was Kim's mom, Kris, who actually released the tape. A lot of people believe the release by Kris was meant to drive attention to the family, and it worked. Only 6 months after the tape was leaked, Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered with strong viewership. For her part, Kris did do a lie detector test on The Late Late Show with James Corden and said she had nothing to do with the leak. But like, who's gonna trust a lie detector test on a talk show? Also, who trusts James Corden? As one might expect from a reality TV show these days. Yes, I've already said it, not everything you see is real. And a lot of the events on Keeping Up with the Kardashians were staged, including Kourtney's vicious vocal battles with Scott. It's just bonkers. According to the New York Daily News, once the camera stopped rolling, the duo would laugh about the filmed fights and the drama, and they would discuss how it would drive viewership up. That being said, it's also been revealed that Scott has faced serious addictions, leading some folks to wonder if the fights on the show were real, they were scripted, they were a mixture of both, just playing off of the original fights. The assumptions made were, well, maybe the fights being fake was a cover-up for how serious the issues were in the relationship. Regardless, there's no denying the tension these fights created among fans of the show. The duo ended up splitting for good in 2015, and Kourtney is now married to the famous musician Travis Barker. I guess we'll just never know what's real, what's calculated with the Kardashian family.
In at number 10, Nick Lachey. Nick Lachey also exposed Kim for being a little too friendly with the paparazzi in order to get some publicity from him. The singer claims that Kim might have only been dating him for publicity. Apparently the pair only dated for about a week, and some shady stuff went down. One time he said, let's just say this, we went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside. And I think from that story it's very clear that Kim was tipping off the paparazzi, so there would be photos of them together. And if you didn't already know, unless someone is like incredibly famous, if there are paparazzi when they are out, they definitely tipped off that paparazzi. And at number 9, Jon Hamm. The Mad Men star definitely has some choice words for the Kardashians, and based off what he said, it's clear he does not like the family and doesn't approve of how they rose to fame. With him telling LUK, whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupidity is certainly celebrated. Being an idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you're rewarded significantly. It's celebrated. It doesn't make sense to me. So clearly he doesn't like the reality TV stars whatsoever and doesn't like how our society praises socialites like Paris Hilton and the Kardashians. And like, I kinda get where he's going. Like, you know, he has some valid points. And at number 8, Kristin Cavallari. Kristin Cavallari has a very interesting relationship with the Kar Jenner clan. It all started when Kristin dated Brody Jenner, and through that relationship she also became friends with the Kardashians. But after Brody and Kristin broke up, there was tension between Kristin and Kourtney Kardashian. After Kourtney caught Scott out with Kristin while they were in an off period. And after that, Kristin called out the family for using that information as a publicity stunt to get viewers to their show. And allegedly, after rumors broke that Kristin and Scott were having an affair, the Kardashians refused to deny it and instead waited to address it on their show, leaving Kristin looking like, you know, the bad, terrible other woman when it just wasn't even true. More than a little shady if you ask me. And at number 7, Barack Obama. Former President Barack Obama also couldn't hold his tongue when talking about the famous family. And it's definitely quite the compliment when the president is speaking about you. Or is it? The former president was talking about the changing dynamics of the American dream and how it's shifting with time, saying, "There was not that window into the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Kids weren't monitoring every day what Kim Kardashian was wearing or where Kanye West was going on vacation, and thinking that somehow was the mark of success." And ouch, here it's pretty obvious he was throwing some major shade their way. And he doesn't seem to like how they are now the standard for what success is. And apparently Kanye West did not like those comments and actually fired back at the president. But also, since Obama was a former president, you know, I trust his opinion and judgment way more than Kanye's. And at number 6, Kris Humphries. Kris Humphries was someone who probably challenged the Kardashian family the most and exposed secrets about them I'm sure they did not want out. Kim and Kris got married in one of the most lavish televised ceremonies ever, but famously after only 72 days, the couple split because Kim was having second thoughts. But based off how much content their reality shows got because of that relationship, then the breakup, Kris called Kim out for fraud, arguing that the whole relationship was just a publicity stunt. And their divorce was so messy it lasted 2 whole years before it was finalized. But during the massive trial, Kris exposed that a lot of the Kardashian show was scripted, and that the show purposefully made him look bad. Like when him and Scott threw a party in one episode while the girls were out of town, and they looked really horrible for going behind their backs when they told them not to have the party. The whole thing was actually just a huge sham, with Kim and Kourtney knowing about the party and acting like they didn't know for TV, in turn making Kris look like a terrible husband when it literally wasn't like that at all. Halfway at number 5, Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson revealed on a radio show that she was presented an opportunity to present an award with Kendall and Kylie Jenner, but Wilson ended up turning it down, with her saying in the interview, "I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the recent VMAs and said no. It's not that you hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I've worked really hard to get where I've gotten to." And even though a lot of people who dislike the Kardashians share the same sentiments, Oprah Winfrey actually came to their defense against Wilson, if you can believe it, with Oprah saying that she couldn't believe how hard the family works, referencing when she filmed the family for Oprah's show, with crews taping the family for 7 hours straight, and then they filmed more of their reality show after. So as we all know, the Kardashian family really works very hard, even though it doesn't seem like they do too much. And at number 4, Bette Midler. After Kim uploaded her incredibly famous nude selfie where she covered her, nether regions with just like black bars, the internet went ablaze talking about it. One of the people that didn't hold their tongue was Bette Midler, who tweeted out, "Kim Kardashian tweeted a nude selfie today. If Kim wants us to see a part of her we've never seen, she's gonna have to swallow the camera." Which, come on, you have to admit, it's pretty hilarious. Like, even if you like the Kardashians, like, it's a good tweet. As a clapback, Kim tweeted out that it was past Bette's bedtime and that she was a fake friend. And Bet responded back, "Looks like anyone can take a selfie, but not everyone can take a joke." And then she lightened the tension by posting her own nude. When talking about the feud later, Bet had no hard feelings and said she takes Twitter pretty lightly and hoping that Kim did the same. Hopefully Kim wasn't actually too peeved about that. I mean, come on, it was clearly a joke. I don't know. And at number 3, Wendy Williams. If you watch Wendy's show, which I definitely do on occasion, she spills the tea like nobody else, then you know she does not like the Kardashians and is always very blunt when talking about them. But Wendy got the spot of a Kardashian hater when she made some shady comments about Kim after her robbery incident. And when talking about the incident in Paris, Wendy said, "I would hope that she's not making any part of this up for dramatic effect. Because this family, you know, they're kind of soulless. You can't believe everything that you hear. But this was very, very upsetting." And although I do not agree with Wendy at all that the Paris incident was a publicity stunt, a lot of people did feel that the incident could have been exaggerated by the family for views, with people citing numerous times in the past that this has happened with the family. And again, I do not agree, but I mean, she just brought it up as kind of a possibility, and obviously, she loves to shade them whenever she can. And at number 2, Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna is another Kardashian ex who was ousted from the family after her and Rob's relationship ended. And you know that whatever went down was bad, because the family is still nice to Tristan and not Chyna, even though Tristan is arguably way worse and embarrassed them so much more. The first of the feud was surrounding the fact that Kylie started dating Tyga, who was Chyna's ex. Then Chyna started dating Rob. And then the two got engaged and then pregnant very quickly. But after they had Dream, the whole thing fell apart and Chyna and the Kardashians were facing off on social media. Chyna even filed a lawsuit against the family, claiming that they stopped her show Rob and Chyna from getting a second season. A judge dismissed that case, but Chyna still shades the Kardashians whenever she can. And at number 1, Anna Wintour. This last one is something that I had no idea existed, but it's probably the shadiest one of all. So Vogue is one of the most prestigious magazines to be on the cover of, and Kim Kardashian and Kanye West were put on the cover in a very controversial move by the magazine's editor, Anna Wintour. When talking about the criticism, she noted that it would be a misstep to ignore the couple's influence, and she made the choice to lead and deal with the backlash rather than follow. And all of that praise to the couple is, you know, all well and good, until she gives them quite a backhanded compliment, saying, "I think if we just remain deeply tasteful and just put deeply tasteful people on the cover, it would be a rather boring magazine. Nobody would talk about us." And although I totally get what she's like trying to say, calling the couple, you know, deeply untasteful is definitely more than a little shady. But I mean, if anyone can shade anyone, it's Anna Wintour. She can shade whoever she wants. Alright guys, let me know what you're thinking about this one below. Which celebrity do you think was the shadiest, and how much do you trust the family? As you guys know, I personally love them so much, but I can also see times when it seemed that getting publicity is all that they really cared about.
Well, it finally happened. Kim Kardashian became more confusing to the public than she already was. Kim was recently revealed to be the cover model for GQ's Men of the Year, sporting a black blazer, striped shirt, patterned necktie, and a bag of original Cheetos. Yeah, that last one confused me a bit too. Actually, if I'm being honest, this entire thing confuses me, and it turns out I'm not alone. In the few days that have passed since the cover made its way around the internet, there has been so much confusion surrounding this magazine cover. Comments beneath the Instagram posts range from, "Why is Kim Kardashian on this cover? Is she a man?" to, "This is a disgrace to all mankind." Of course, there are a lot of Kardashian fans who praise Kim for appearing on the cover. So the answer as to why Kim is on the cover as a Man of the Year is actually because of her latest business venture. Skims is a business that Kim got off the ground in 2019, and she claims that the company was born from a necessity. She was always having trouble finding clothes that matched her skin tone, quickly realizing that the companies that she would buy for would only sell their clothes in like 2 or 3 shades. According to Kim, she would literally buy white shapewear and toss them into a tub filled with coffee and tea. And that liquid was then bottled and then sold at auction. No, that didn't happen, but someone would definitely buy that. The world is terrible. Kim partnered up with power couple Jens and Emma Gred to create more options for women. The brand has been popular, featuring undergarments of all shapes and sizes and over 10 skin tones. In 2022, the company was named as one of the most influential companies ever. Skim recently announced that they would be expanding their clothes to include menswear, boxers, briefs, and beyond. That's a great name for a store, please don't take that from me. Kim being featured on the cover of a magazine celebrating the men of the year makes a little bit more sense when you realize that she may be on the verge of revolutionizing men's underclothes. The reception from the cover has been mainly negative, with people simply being upset that a woman is on a men's magazine cover. Forgetting about gender for a moment, the magazine celebrates things that men have done in 2023, and while there were a lot of good things that happened this year, there was also a lot of really shady, bad stuff. Also, whoever decided that a bag of Cheetos would make Kim look more manly is clearly not manly themselves, man. Give her a bag of Jack Link's beef jerky teriyaki style and then we'll talk. Cheetos are okay, but I don't know about you, I hate it when there's dust on my hands when I'm eating a snack. Skims has started to release lots of men's styles, including leggings, t-shirts, socks, briefs, all the fun stuff. The company is body positive and is releasing clothes in all shapes and sizes, so yeah, I'm gonna buy myself an extra large pair of boxers because I've got all the junk in this trunk. The prices are actually relatively decent, with the most expensive clothes being in the mid-50s, when the low end being in the mid-teens, so not too bad. Kim Kardashian's always been a public figure seen as one thing or another. She is either public enemy #1 or just an innocent bystander. When it comes to being on the cover of a magazine for men, it's not a big deal. The photo is weird, again, Cheetos, not that manly. Take it from me, I'm wearing a Hamilton the Musical hoodie, the manliest musical ever made. Bam. Considering the things that men have done this year, it's fair. I feel like every other week there is a man in the news for doing something terrible. Justin Timberlake is at the top of the canceled list, thanks to Britney Spears' memoir. Jonah Hill had his career called into question when an ex shared screenshots of controlling conversations between themselves. Danny Matheson, the guy from That 70s Show, was arrested and charged for doing terrible, heinous things to women. I could literally go on and on about the scandals involving men from this year, and I probably will in a separate video. But today, we're talking about Kim Kardashian and her calculated business moves. Kim and her family have actually tried time and time again to keep their fortune stable in an ever-changing world. Most of those ventures have worked out, but there have been a handful that just failed miserably, so let's chat about them. So for starters, the Kardashian crew actually tried to get their very own credit card off the ground. The Kardashian card with a K, cause Kardashians, they're so clever. The card was scrapped before it took off because the few people who actually signed up for it received outlandish fees every time they used it. Not to mention the card was aimed at young people who couldn't afford the fees and simply wanted to tell their friends that they had a Kardashian-themed credit card. Another failed venture that really needs to be mentioned is Quick Trim. Quick Trim was a product released in 2009 and it absolutely tanked. Khloe, Kim, and Kourtney got together and became the spokeswomen for a diet supplement because, you know how reliable those are. By 2012, the three were named in a $5 million class action lawsuit against Quick Trim, accusing them of false and deceptive marketing. Unfortunately, if people want to lose weight fast, this is not the way you do it. A lot of people know it rarely works. Walking for an hour a day is much better for your health. The sisters also partnered to create a line of self-tanning kits that included a self-tanning gel. Yeah, you were supposed to take sticky orange paste and lather it all over yourself to get that Kardashian glow. Yeah, no one was willing to slime themselves up to look like that, so the product was quickly discontinued and taken off the shelves. In 2011, the family decided to open a store in Las Vegas, Nevada to sell merchandising to casino goers. You know, people who probably just lost all of their money, give them a Kim keychain, they'll be fine. Problem solved. Sometimes they would actually appear at the store for meet and greets, but that was once in a while. So the store lost its novelty and they were forced to close down in 2014. Oh, and also they tried to be authors for a hot minute. It's worth mentioning that 2 Kardashian clan members decided to team up for this novel. Rebel City of Indra is a fictional story taking place in a world of the far future in the city of Indra, a world with 2 faces, a floating paradise and a nightmare on the ground. The book was written by the team of Kylie and Kendall Jenner and was meant to be the next big young adult book like Maze Runner or The Hunger Games. That's something they actually wanted to happen. Instead, what the world received was a literal pile of trash that apparently contains interwoven stories that make no sense, a really bad and cringy twist, and it's only 342 pages long. only. This steampunk-centric novel was not the fantasy feature for the young Jenners that they were hoping. The reviews for this book are dreadful. Even people who have been following this family since day one didn't like it. I unfortunately have not had the chance to read it yet before I wrote this part of this script, so please be kind to me if it is a good book. I am going to buy it very soon. I just want to know how terrible it truly is and if it's worth adapting into a miniseries. I can't imagine it is, but it might. While some of their business ventures have failed, there is no denying that there have been a lot of successes as well. But even those successes are caked with deception and evil. For instance, Kylie Jenner, the youngest of the Kardashian clan, is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between cosmetic brand that she made and Ulta, a beauty salon company. This would allow the brand, previously only available online or in random pop-ups, to actually be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores, which is unfortunate because the true nature of where these products come from is so dark, it's so bad. A lot of employees at the factory that mix and package these makeups and beauty products have reported that they were never given any proper safety equipment to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, safety goggles, which meant their hands and faces were completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines, chemical burns on their hands, all the fun stuff. And if that's not bad enough, they were also forced to be human test subjects for Kylie's new products. Now, she's very proud of her company not testing things on animals, but can we agree that people? That's just way worse. You shouldn't do that. But Kylie isn't even close to the meanest of the bunch. Kim is an absolute menace to the people that work for her. This woman has 4 kids, a skincare line, Skims, now men and women styles. She did law school, co-founded an equity team, hopped on the podcast train, so many things, in addition to filming the new show that she has on Hulu. So you might be asking yourself, how does this one woman do all of that by herself? Of course she doesn't. She pays people to do it for her. She has multiple assistants and nannies who help her stay above this overwhelming workload, but she's been known to treat them as lesser than herself. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch with their nannies, but Kim made her not only sit at a separate table away from them, but she is known to make her nannies walk 10 feet away from them at all times, unless she has multiple people with her at once, and then she likes to make them walk in like a flying V formation because it looks cool. If they walked near her or attempted to walk side by side, she apparently blows up on them. Needless to say, she's had many nannies over the years and has probably made them all cry at least once. But while Kim might not be the best boss in the world, it's actually Kourtney who's known as the absolute worst. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the worst Kardashian. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, but she's also known for being surprisingly cheap. She even once called a grocery store while she was still shopping to compare the price of a chicken breast, because if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney Kardashian. But this isn't the worst thing she's ever done. At one point, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit, but instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to act properly, she berated the nanny, telling her that she should have said something to her daughter. Because yes, blame the woman that you're paying to raise your kids instead of the kid itself, who probably has abandonment issues, Kourtney. While the Kardashians have had problems with their staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait that this family shares as a unit. They don't like to pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages and no overtime. The Kardashians don't cover basic things. Basic expenses like gas, food, rent, everything is out of the employee's pocket with zero money coming back to them. To make matters worse, the Kardashians would not pay them on a set amount of days, meaning that you just got paid when you got paid and had to deal with it. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the entire world that they would at least pay people that help them run their lives. While they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their kids, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if the staff decided to walk out on this family. They would crumble in less than a day.
Coming in at number 10 today, we have Sarah Michelle Gellar. Back in 2014, Sarah Michelle Gellar definitely became Buffy the Kimye Slayer when she threw some serious serious shade at Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's first ever Vogue cover. Shortly after Anna Wintour approved April issue was revealed, Sarah would head over to her Twitter to say, well, guess I'm canceling my Vogue subscription. Who is with me? While many fans agreed with Sarah's tweet, including me, Kim Kardashian's best friend, Jonathan Schnupp, would retweet Geller's post and he would say, do you even matter? Buffy fanatics would then even start to argue that she very much does. After much of a debate, even Anna Wintour would come out to defend her controversial choice to place the reality TV star and the rapper on her issue cover in the editor's letter by saying, as for the cover, my opinion is that both are charming and touching, and it is, I should add, entirely our idea to do it. You may have read that Kanye begged me to put his fiance on Vogue's cover. He did nothing of sort, but if you have to come out to claim something like this, it's most likely it was true. Coming in at number 9, we have Jonah Hill. In 2011, Jonah Hill would end up slamming the Kardashian family in an interview, but even after admitting he hated everything the family represents, he still can't stop watching the show. During the interview, Jonah would count himself among the ranks of those who are still keeping up with the Kardashians, but only with great reluctance. And he even was too duped by Kim's wedding, and he would even state that the show took money and attention from people in the television industry who actually worked to create compelling original programming. Also in the interview, he would go on to note that the whole show was a giant joke, and then he went on to say, the truth is, I have friends who work in TV and Kardashians get higher ratings than their TV shows. That people actually work hard on writing and creating, trying to tell their stories. The fact that Kardashians could be more popular than a show like Mad Men, it's disgusting. But that doesn't mean he doesn't watch, as he would then go on to say, I can't even understand it, so I watch it. I think it's funny and I definitely enjoy it in a making fun of sort of way. But where does the line sort of end? When do I stop making fun of it and become an actual fan? And the truth is, you never actually do. Even fans aren't fans. We just find the drama so fantasizing, because what kind of family actually has so much drama going on in their lives 24/7? It's just not healthy. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Lily Reinhart. Lily Reinhart spoke out against Kim after the Skims owner admitted to undergoing a restrictive diet to fit into a vintage Marilyn Monroe gown for the 2022 Met Gala, after Kim boasted about her losing 16 pounds to fit into the iconic gown worn by Marilyn during the John F. Kennedy's birthday party. She was able to lose the weight in 3 weeks. Lily would then take to her Instagram story to call Kim out by saying, to walk a red carpet and do an interview saying how starving you are because you haven't eaten carbs in the last month, old to fit in an effing dress, so wrong, so effed on hundreds of levels. To openly admit to starving yourself for the sake of the Met Gala, when you know very well that millions of young men and women are looking up to you and listening to your every word. The ignorance is otherworldly and disgusting. Please stop supporting these stupid, harmful celebrities whose entire image revolves around their bodies. Lily then noted, I'm generally not an angry person, but I swear to God the toxicity of this industry sometimes really gets to me, and I have to head to my Instagram story to rant, to release my rage. Number 7, Michael Bublé. When Michael Bublé was performing his iHeartRadio live concert in 2011, he made his feelings about Kim Kardashian crystal clear when he said, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special guest. Please welcome Kim Kardashian. But after a short pause, Bublé then shot back, nah, I'm just effing with you. That B ain't coming on my stage, before transitioning into his cover of Nina Simone's classic Feeling Good, which he said was dedicated to Chris Humphries. Later he would explain that he hated Kim because she hurt Chris and he wished that she hurt him instead. Michael's diss wouldn't be the only backlash Kim would experience after she filed divorce from Chris after only being married to him for 72 days. The reality TV star even had to enlist in a celebrity lawyer, Marty Singer, to fight back against Jonathan Jackson, who claims that she staged her wedding, among other things. Number 6, Daniel Craig. It's no lie that the Kardashian family has made millions from living their lives in the public eye thanks to their reality TV show. But one person who is less than impressed by the Kardashian family is Daniel Craig, who launched an astonishing, foul-mouthed rant about the family in an interview with GQ magazine back in 2011. The James Bond star even labeled the clan as effing idiots and criticized those who sell themselves and then make demands about their private life, when he said, I think there's a lot to be said for keeping your own counsel. It's not about being afraid to go public about your emotions or about who you are and what you stand for, but to sell it off, it's gone. You can't buy it back. You can't buy back your privacy. Oh, I want to be alone.
phone? F you. We've been in your living room. We were at your birth. You filmed it for us and showed us the placenta, and now you want some privacy. Referring to the Kardashians, Daniel would then also note that while the clan is worth millions, he doesn't think they were badly off to start in the beginning because of their looks. And then he would go on to say, you see that? And you think, what? You mean all I have to do is behave like an effing idiot on television and then you'll pay me millions? I'm not judging it. Well, I am obviously. So the moral of the story is, if you want to be famous one day, maybe take some notes. Number 5, we have Rebel Wilson. In 2015, Rebel Wilson would slam the Kardashian family's meteoric rise to fame in a candid live interview. In the interview, the Pitch Perfect actress said she was frustrated that she had to work so much harder to get to where she is and where she wanted to be by saying, it's not that I hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I worked really hard to get to where I've gotten to. Rebel didn't even want to be on the stage with the family's 2 youngest siblings at the 2015 MTV Music Video Awards when she said, I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the latest VMAs, but I said no, I'd rather do it myself. She then went on to compare Kim Kardashian to her own acting experience by saying they aren't really about talent. I mean, how Kim got famous was from an X tape, and I went to acting school and worked really hard. Number 4, Reese Witherspoon. In 2011, America's sweetheart Reese Witherspoon was really ready to talk some trash when she went on a rant against certain breed of celebrities when she was at the MTV Movie Awards. When accepting a Generation Award from Robert Pattinson, the actress railed at the celebrities in vain of the Kardashians and Paris Hilton and other celebrities when she said, I get it girls, that it's cool to be a bad girl, but it's possible to make it in Hollywood without doing reality shows. While a dig was definitely made towards Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton specifically, Reese would also go on to say, when I came up in business, if you made an X tape, you were embarrassed and you hid it under your bed. Reese would then go on to say another Hollywood trend she is tired of seeing is the leaking of celebrity nudes photos, and she would even caution those who end up taking them to cover their face so they didn't become the next Kim Kardashian. Number 3, Jon Hamm. Jon Hamm and Kim Kardashian's feud all began when Jon sat down for an interview and said, whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupid is certainly celebrated. Being an exploitive idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you rewarded it significantly. The quote found its way back to the Kardashians, who responded by saying she respected Hamm and his right to have an opinion, but we're all working really hard and we all have to respect one another. Calling someone out who ruins their own business is part of a successful TV show. Producers, writes, designs, and creates stupid is in my opinion. Jon would then come out to clarify that he didn't mean to personally offend Kim Kardashian, he's just not a really big fan of the culture she represents. When he said, it's surprising to me that it has become remotely a story. I don't know Miss Kardashian, I know her public persona. What I said was meant to be more of a persuasiveness of something in our culture, not personal, but she took offense to it, and that's her right. My quote was simply about the version of television and the version of American culture being celebrated, and it's not something that I particularly enjoy. Number 2, Joel McHale. Back in 2018, Joel McHale would land a new weekly show on Netflix 3 years after E pulled the plug on his pop culture show The Soup. After he made a slew of jokes, Kris Jenner wasn't happy about it. Joel, who dished the dirt on E from 2004 to 2015, told Variety that his streaming series will in some way be similar with its use of clips from television shows among the pity commentary. Reflecting on his years on The Soup, he would also speak about how one of the network's own shows, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, eventually became a no-go area for him, and he would say when Kris Jenner would complain about our jokes, and then later the president of E! Networks would simply ask McHale to lay off the Jenner and Kardashian family for a week, and then the administration and the president told him to his face, don't make fun of the Kardashian family, we don't want you to make fun of the Kardashians. Joel then went on to say that the network really wasn't happy when The Soup started to make fun of Kim, as they always joked about how Kim was only famous for having a big peach and the infamous tape, but I mean, they aren't really wrong. Number 1, Jeremy Renner. Back in 2012, Jeremy Renner would join the growing list of celebrities who have expressed an extreme distaste for the Kardashians. In a recent interview with the UK paper The Guardian, the actor would even claim that he never wanted to be famous, and while discussing the pitfalls of fame, he would unleash his disdain for the reality TV family. When the Kardashians' name was mentioned in the interview, Renner would reportedly roll his eyes and then call them ridiculous people with zero talent, who spend their lives making sure everyone knows their names. He would then add, they are stupid, stupid people. Which makes it definitely safe to say you'll never catch Jeremy spending his weekend binging on episodes of this famous reality TV family show. However, whether you like them or hate them, it seems like if you want to get your foot into Hollywood, you have to get on this family's good side, so you might just want to be careful when it comes to making comments about them, because you never know who might be watching.
In at number 10, Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna's 2017 lawsuit against the Kardashian family will finally be taking place after years of stalling. In her $100 million suit, Chyna accused the family of prematurely ending her reality show, Rob and Chyna, and damaging her reputation by claims they made in the media. The planned 10-day trial comes years after the initial filing, and names Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Rob Kardashian, and Kylie Jenner as being responsible for the demise of the show. Chyna also lists Ryan Seacrest and other producers on the witness list. Chyna claims that Rob and his family wanted to destroy her and her reputation after the breakup. Chyna states that the couple was in the process of filming season 2 of the show, but it was abruptly halted. The Kardashians claim the show ended because Rob and Chyna split, and because Chyna was physically harmful to Rob during their relationship. In at number 9, Kim Kardashian. In May of 2021, it was leaked that Kim Kardashian was being sued by her staff for unpaid wages. And the more you learn, the crazier the claims seem. 7 members of her staff are suing Kim for not providing the workers with meal breaks and failing to cover any expenses incurred on the job. The employees claim that when they were hired, they were told they would be considered full-time employees. But after they started working, they were labeled independent contractors and treated as such. This meant the staff were not given any benefits of full-time employment. Kim is also being sued for, quote, failure to pay overtime wages and for unfair and unlawful business practices. Although Kim's reps claim it's not her fault, as she hired a third-party vendor to handle the maintenance on her property, and they should be suing this vendor, not her. In at number 8, Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner has gotten a lot of backlash because of her tequila company 818, and now some of this backlash has turned into a lawsuit. 818 is being sued by competitor brand Tequila 512 for allegedly ripping off 512's branding. 512 claims in their lawsuit that it's a cheap trick for 818 to copy its shtick by using an area code as its name. 818 is named after the San Fernando Valley, and 512 is Austin. 512 also claims the design and color scheme of the bottles was intentionally made similar to confuse customers. There's even a strange twist in this suit that involves Kim Kardashian. In Kim's mobile app, Kim Kardashian Hollywood, there's an emoji designed for Kendall's 818 tequila brand. But this emoji looks exactly like the 512 brand. Whether the mistake was intentional or not, it gives way to the theory that people easily confuse the two brands. And at number 7, Tristan Thompson. So we all know that Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe Kardashian a lot. So much so that when any woman comes forward claiming that she hooked up with Tristan, the media generally believes her. However, when Kimberly Alexander accused Tristan of cheating and fathering her child, he took her to court for libel, claiming that was a lie. In the end, the test results determined that it was a lie, and Tristan was awarded $50,000 in damages. She will also have to pay close to $3,000 in court costs. Plus, she will be forced to pay 10% interest until the full amount is paid off. Tristan was seeking $100,000 in damages at the start of the trial, claiming the false allegations he fathered her child hurt his reputation and cost him endorsement deals because companies saw him as a brand hazard. The judge halved the damages because Tristan didn't specifically lay out which endorsements he lost due to Alexander's allegations. And at number 6, Kris Jenner. In 2020, Kris Jenner was hit with an insane lawsuit that claimed that she was inappropriate with a security guard that was hired to watch over her and her family. Kourtney was also involved in this suit, and the bodyguard, Mark McWilliams, claims that both women were inappropriate with him. McWilliams claimed that after being hired in 2017, he became subject to a, quote, pattern of unwanted and unwelcome sexual advances and other harassing misconduct from Kris. Also claiming she made suggestive comments towards him about his appearance and asked him private details of his life. He also claimed that Kris massaged his neck, shoulders, arms, and back without his consent, among other physical contact. Kris's lawyer, Marty Singer, tells TMZ, quote, Kris categorically denies ever behaving inappropriately toward Mark McWilliams. The security guard worked outside the house and he never even went into Kris's home. The Kardashian lawyers claim that McWilliams is a disgruntled employee who was fired after being caught sleeping on the job. Halfway at number 5, Kylie Jenner. Kylie and her beauty brand were dragged into court after she was sued by Seed Beauty, the company that helped her formulate her Kylie Cosmetics products. The lawsuit came about after Kylie sold a majority stake in her company for $600 million to Coty. Seed Beauty believes that the new Coty deal is opening the door for Coty to steal Seed's formulations for themselves. In the documents obtained by TMZ, Seed says they've been providing their valuable recipe to makeup success to Kylie for years now, and with this new deal, their formulation formulations are at risk of being distributed to Coty, their competition. Sources say the lawsuit is a little ridiculous since the Kardashians are most likely not successful because of their products, rather their insane social media presence. In at number 4, Kylie Jenner. Another lawsuit involving Kylie Jenner is actually on behalf of her daughter, Stormi Webster. Kylie went forward with the suit after a company called Business Moves Consulting filed to trademark, quote, Stormi Couture a month after Kylie and Travis Scott welcomed their baby, Stormi Webster, seemingly trying to take advantage of her name, which is incredibly unique. Kylie also filed her own trademarks for Stormi, including one for Stormi World. But after doing so, she was hit with a lawsuit from the same company, Business Moves, because they claimed that they filed the trademark first for Stormi Couture, and people would be confused. Jenner's asking the trademark office to cancel the other company's trademark because it seems like they only got the trademark to capitalize off of her daughter's name. Kylie says Stormi has, quote, achieved fame in her own right, and points out that her Stormi World birthday parties have been covered by major media outlets like Vogue. As of now, it doesn't seem like there's been any updates on the case. In at number 3, Kanye West. Kanye West was caught up in a lawsuit when a former associate of his was sued for forging Ye's signature. West's former friend and good music associate, Malik Yusuf, was sued by company Gentle Monster for claiming that Kanye West would create a promotional video for this company. Yusuf allegedly scammed the company out of $2.5 million. The company says that Yusuf even set up a meeting between Kanye and a rep for the brand, making it seem like Ye was on board for the whole thing. Kanye allegedly had no clue there was any type of business deal in place. Kanye was also not the only celebrity in this scheme. He also claimed Pharrell, Jaden Smith, and others would help out with this project. Apparently, the scam was an elaborate 9-month plan that included forged signatures and fake invoices to make the documents seem legit. In at number 2, Kim Kardashian. App developer David Liebenson is suing Kim Kardashian for $100 million over her very successful Kimoji app. The developer claims that he and Kim made a joint deal to work on the project together, but she left him high and dry. The plaintiff claims that he and his business partners created an app called Censor Out that caught the attention of Kim, and after she got in touch, they decided to partner on Kimojis. In the legal documents, Kim agreed to give him and his team 60% of the project. But right around when Kim filed for the trademark, she decided to back out of their deal. He's suing Kim for at least $100 million for breach of contract, fraud, and for the profits he believes he's lost out of by being left out of this Kimoji partnership. And finally, number 1, Kanye West. Kanye West's clothing company, Yeezy Apparel, was sued by Jordan Outdoor Enterprises after the company believed that Ye ripped off their design. Specifically, the company believes that Kanye copied their camo hoodie, camo thigh-high boots, cargo pants, hooded bomber jackets, shirts, and boots. The lawsuit claims that Jordan has distinctive markings on its Realtree line, and Kanye's companies ripped them off. To make things even shadier, the suit alleges that a rep from Yeezy contacted Jordan about using his camo patterns. But when Jordan said that Yeezy had to license these items, Kanye's reps all of a sudden stopped responding. Then, surprise surprise, Yeezy comes out with very similar camo patterns. Jordan Outdoor Enterprises is suing for damages, but also wants to stop Yeezy from selling the products in the future and to turn over any unsold inventory. In a statement, Kanye's camp said, quote, "There's nothing original or protectable about the Jordan outdoor gear in question. It's unclear if this lawsuit has been resolved."
Number 10. Grave shopping. Window shopping is not weird. We all love to mindlessly walk around a store that we know well and good we will be purchasing nothing from. But the Kardashian family doesn't go to Hot Topic. Or maybe they do. I live in Toronto, I've never seen them. Instead, this family likes to window shop for coffins and grave plots. During an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, momager Kris decided that the best gift she could get for her kids was a nice, comfortable place to keep their lifeless husks tucked away when they pass. Kris and the crew spent the day trying to decide what model of coffin they wanted to purchase, with Kris going so far as to getting into a coffin to see if it was cozy. Hey Kris, if you're trying to get cozy in a coffin, you're still alive! Bang on that lid, man! On top of shopping for physical coffins, she also took the kids on a tour of a graveyard that seemed to boast some pretty stellar plots. There is such a serious conversation over the choice of in the ground or in a mausoleum made of marble. Yeah, which one do you think they picked? Number 9. Mystery meat. Following a brief discussion on the practice of eating the stuff that comes out after we're born, yep, that's a thing apparently, Kim and Kourtney decided to hatch a plot where they would trick their family into thinking they had just eaten placenta. There, I'm only saying it once, from now on it'll be called the stuff. The sisters go through an elaborate preparation and brag to their family about the mystery meat that they had purchased. As the evening went on, they continued to plant the seeds right up until the forks were plunged deep into the meat. Following the meal, they decided that it was the perfect time to tell their her family they just dined on the stuff. Of course, their immediate reaction is disgust and anger at the same time. Don't eat mystery meat, guys, especially if it's cooked by Kim Kardashian. That could be a person for all you know. They let the prank play out for some time, with Caitlyn Jenner almost blowing her chunks all over the table. After a few moments of panic, they let it slip that the meat that they were eating had actually been brisket. But needless to say, Kim's no longer in charge of family dinner night. Number 8. The Pepsi commercial. Sponsored brand deals can mean a lot of money for the people involved. Just look at every cologne on the planet. They hire someone to stand on a beach for them for like 30 seconds and make $1 million. Around 2017, Kendall Jenner decided to partner with the soda brand Pepsi to create a commercial that would act as both an ad and a PSA against hate. The commercial consisted of hundreds of people from different parts of the world drinking Pepsi, and eventually everyone comes together on the streets on what appeared to be New York, I'm not sure. Kendall looks to the crowd, wipes off her makeup, and follows suit. And the cringe comes when the crowd of people appear to be at a standoff with the police. Kendall walks through the crowd and hands an officer a can of Pepsi. He sips it, and the crowd cheers before they swarm the cops, who are suddenly just cool with everything that's going on. The ad was meant to be a political statement following the passing of several African American men and women in the United States, aiming to bring people together, which it did, but for the wrong reasons. The world collectively cringed at this absolute mess, forcing Kendall to drop an apology video on that season's premiere of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She may have apologized, but we will still never forget this strange brand collaboration. Number 7. The birthday suit shoot. Momager Kris Jenner has been a big part of the family unit for a long time. In fact, she's one of the main reasons that her kids are such good liars. The older we get, the more we clamor for our glory days. With Kris, she decided she wanted to recapture that youthful image in a birthday suit swimsuit at her home. During the episode titled Let It Go, the Kardashian kids enter their backyard only to discover that their mother is taking rather spicy photos in a see-through swimsuit. Not something that anyone wants to see their mom doing. Kris was quick to tell the girls there was nothing wrong with the shoot and that she was simply trying to show off her curves, but her clan wanted none of it and instead let their mother know exactly how they felt. The momager just continues to take photos despite her kids now being present at the home, and at one point Kim literally tells her mom that she's scarring them for life. The moment was more awkward than anything else, but certainly shows just how little regard Kris actually has for her kids. Number 6. Selfie! If you're a Kardashian, any moment is a good photo op, whether it's on a luxurious boat in the Caribbean or in an SUV on the way to jail. Anytime is selfie time. During an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the crew were on their way to drop Khloe off at prison after she violated her probation. Things in the car were intense, but Kim decided to diffuse the tension by snapping a couple of candid pics of herself and her sisters. The entire ride was filled with cringy moments, including Kris suggesting that they all go get some pre-jail IHOP and chill out. The funniest thing about the moment is that Khloe seems pretty calm and collected considering she's going to jail, while her mother is just furious from start to finish. Needless to say, if your sibling is being arrested, don't take family photos on the way to the prison. Number 5. Shut your mouth. When Scott Disick was still with Kourtney Kardashian, he was a regular wild man on the show. He would regularly get into situations that made him look like the absolute worst, which he was. During one particularly rough moment on the show, Scott was accompanied by the rest of the crew to Las Vegas, Nevada for some wholesome family fun. Nah, I'm just kidding, they drank no-no juice a lot. At one point, Scott becomes so intoxicated that he loses control of his emotions and berates a waiter for simply doing his job. He then proceeds to give him a tip by jamming $100 in his mouth. The waiter pushed back and walks away, which is probably a good move. If Scott Disick shoved $100 in my mouth, well, I'm poor, I'd probably take it and spend it on my hydro bill. Scott is one of the messiest members of the family, despite not being a blood-born Kardashian, but thankfully Kourtney eventually came to her senses and dumped him like yesterday's lunch. Number 4. Kylie's billions. Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, which was like a beauty salon company. It turned out that that wasn't actually the case though. Jenner allegedly sold half of her cosmetics company, Kylie Cosmetics, to the beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. Now this was huge and considered to be one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, maybe try not to lie, especially to Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turns out that the cosmetic brand was actually much smaller than originally thought, and it was uncovered that Jenner only actually made about $314 million after taxes from the company. The revelation was briefly covered on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but it was ultimately edited to make the situation look less severe than it actually was. The reality was Kylie was lying about her money, tricking people who wanted to invest, and let's not even start with where her cosmetics come from. It's under understaffed factories with non-protective gear. Good luck, Kylie. Number 3. 2020? Who cares? In 2020, while most of the world was shut down and we were all forced to stay in our houses, the rich and powerful were living it up. Especially the Kardashian family. Despite the entire world throwing a close sign over their doors, Kim and her sisters decided they cared more about seeing their buddies than saving the world. Kim rented a private island for her 40th birthday, an entire island for about 30 people. Yeah, that makes sense. Kim decided to post photos and videos from the event, which were of course met with immediate backlash. Kim was quick to defend herself by claiming that every person there had stayed inside and away from people for at least 2 weeks. They all tested negative, blah blah blah. In her post, she claimed that the event was to help herself and her friends feel normal during a particularly hard time in history. Hey man, I would've liked to do that too, but I don't have any K's in my name. Not only did Kim throw a lavish private party, but her sister Kendall did the exact same thing, only much worse. Kendall decided it would be an awesome idea to throw a private rooftop Halloween party in Hollywood, California, and invited not 30, but 100 of her closest friends. Again, the crew claimed that everyone attending the event was tested and good to go, but the reality was nobody knows what went down or where they came from. Most of them probably showed up in a helicopter or something. Freaking famous jerks. Number 2. Cut the cucumber. Alright, anybody who's ever made a meal has probably chopped a vegetable once or twice. For me, it was only once, never again. For Kendall Jenner, it seems like the answer is she's never done it. During an episode of the latest version of the reality show, The Kardashians, Kendall was shot attempting to cut a cucumber, and I do mean attempting. Like in the footage, she moves her hands around in a weird way that makes her like chop the cucumber backwards. I don't know. This woman has clearly never taken a single cooking class in her life. And I'd like to thank my high school cooking teacher, Mr. Kenzel, for being so good at his job and preventing me from looking like this. Seriously, she was holding the already cut side of the cucumber trying to grip it. Like, just watch one YouTube tutorial. The moment went viral online and she received massive amounts of online hate, with many asking the question why she was trying to make herself a snack. Like, we all know that these people have a literal closet full of chefs waiting to be activated and put into cook mode. Next time, Kendall should just go on Amazon and buy the automatic cucumber slicer for 3 easy payments of $99.99. And at number 1, girls don't work these days. In March 2022, the Kardashian clan were doing a profile for the outlet Variety. When the question was asked, what advice do you have for women aiming to be entrepreneurs? Kim decided to declare that women simply needed to get off their bums and work. Nobody wants to work these days. The tone-deaf statement was met with massive amounts of backlash. Considering Kim comes from a long line of wealthy people, it's no surprise that she would receive such public hate. If I was born rich, I'd probably be telling people to work harder too, but like, Kim gets paid to basically look good and be on TV, that's it. Oh yeah, definitely hard work being done there. Oh, so exhausting.
At number 10, Kim's nannies. Kim Kardashian is arguably the most famous of the Kardashian sisters and also seems to be the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and recently even hopped on the podcast train. And that's all on top of filming their new reality show on Hulu. You may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all that by herself? She pays people to do it for her, duh. Kardashian has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than her. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by their nanny, but Kim made her not only sit at a separate table away from them at the restaurant, known to make her nannies walk at least 10 feet away from her at all times. If they walk near her or attempt to walk side by side, apparently she blows up on them behind closed doors. Needless to say, she has had many nannies over the years and has probably made them all cry at least once. At number 9, Kourtney in general. While Kim may not be the best boss in the world, it's Kourtney who is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, she's also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a different grocery store while she was shopping to compare the price of a chicken breast, because if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney. But this isn't the worst thing she's done. One time, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit, but instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to treat people, she berated the nanny, telling her she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Because it makes sense to blame the woman you're paying to raise your kid instead of the kid herself to prevent future incidents. At number 8, toxic chemicals. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan and is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. I'm not sure Forbes knows what self-made means, but this collaboration would allow Jenner's brand, previously only available online and at pop-up stores to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where those products come from. Many employees at the factory that mixed and packaged her makeup and beauty products have been reported that they were never given proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and face completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines and mild chemical burns on their hands. I know they say beauty is pain, but I don't think this is what they meant. At number 7, Victoria. Victoria Valero has been Kylie Jenner's close personal assistant since 2015, but the pair go back to 2014 when Valero was interning as a personal assistant for Kris Jenner. After gaining the family's trust, she was hired as Kylie's house manager and soon after became her personal assistant. Victoria and Jenner became very close over the years, and she was even present at the secret birth of Kylie's daughter Stormi. You would think with being so close to the family, it would be through thick and thin, right? Well, all good things must come to an end as Victoria quit in 2019. Many fans allege that she had quit to focus on becoming an Instagram influencer, but that was far from her real reason for leaving. Being around that family means seeing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff. Victoria was basically in charge of scheduling Kylie's life. Booking appointments, meetings, massages, all of this is stressful enough, basically being a 24/7 gig, but the job was also very degrading, with Kylie even having Victoria pull out a stool and set it up outside so that Kylie could get out of her car smoother. I think anyone in their right mind would want to get out of that job as soon as possible. At number 6, GoFundMe. In March 2021, Kylie shared an Instagram post asking for prayers for one of her makeup artists, Samuel Rhoda, with the post redirecting fans to a GoFundMe page where they were asked to donate money to cover his medical bills for an upcoming surgery. That's right, the woman who got a feature on Forbes' top 60 self-made women list was asking her fans to donate some of their money. Why would Kylie herself not just use some of her billions of dollars to cover the bills? Well, she went online to claim that her and Sam didn't know each other on a personal level. She had worked with him a few years prior and thought he was a sweetheart. Supposedly, her current makeup artist had shared a post about Samuel's accident, which included a link to a GoFundMe campaign created by his family. She went on to let fans know that she herself donated $5,000. Okay, sure, that's a ton of money to most of us, but for Jenner, that's like $5. Something tells me the surgery would be a lot more than that. This is just another instance proving Kylie is the worst, because I know she would drop more than that on a purse. At number 5, the lawsuit. In March of 2021, a lawsuit was arranged by several of Kim's former employees. The plaintiffs claimed that Kardashian failed to pay them overtime, cover expenses, and provide legally mandated breaks. The employees also never received actual pay stubs or any proof of payment whatsoever. They were also made to purchase everything out of pocket, and one plaintiff was even fired on the spot for simply addressing his concerns to Kim. Then, when the rest were eventually let go, they received no type of severance package or pay of any kind. It was also uncovered that Kim would keep 10% of all their earnings for tax purposes, but failed to report their employment to tax authorities. Kim argued that she couldn't be held responsible because most of her employees were apparently hired and paid through third-party companies, meaning Kim herself was technically not their direct employer and therefore cannot be liable. Kim maintains that she paid people on time and that they were suing the wrong person, but if that were the case, Kardashian would have used her high status and influence long ago to make things work for her staff, and maybe she wouldn't have gotten sued by them. At number 4, Kim and Kanye. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West started dating in 2012 and were officially married in 2014. During their marriage, life was rocky to say the least. While Kim was fairly tame for the most part, as we all know, Kanye's mental health was slowly slipping. He began posting hate speech and racially fueled tweets, as well as constantly sharing his political views and publicly backing Donald Trump. Is it really any surprise that Kim found comfort in another man's arms? While hosting SNL in 2021, Kim met Pete Davidson while still married to Kanye. We'll cover their side in another entry. Kanye discovered that Kim and Pete began dating following the live show and seemed to be the final breaking point. Apparently, only a few months before the show, Ye and Kim were constantly arguing about everything. Following their divorce, Kim revealed that she would constantly try to help Ye understand why his views and words were wrong. She wanted him to get better, but instead he doubled down and filed for a divorce. Kim is now happily single and received joint custody of her 4 kids, so it's a win-win for the Kardashian clan and for Kanye. At number 3, they don't pay. While the Kardashians have had their problems with staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait the family shares as a unit. They don't pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages and no overtime hours. The Kardashians don't cover expenses including gas, food, rent. Everything is out of the employee's pocket with zero money coming back. To make matters worse, the Kardashians would not pay them on set paydays, meaning you just got paid when you got paid and had to to deal with it. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the world that they would at least pay the people that help run their lives. While they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their children, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if the staff decided to walk out. The family would crumble in less than a day. At number 2, paid in exposure. When Andre Turbia, famous YouTube animator and content creator, was asked to work with Kylie Jenner, he thought that his life would change forever. He was under the impression that the collaboration would grant him a huge amount of money, possibly a guest spot on a reality show, and maybe some shoutouts online via Instagram and Twitter. However, when Andre brought up the topic of his compensation to Jenner, she responded with, "The company doesn't really have a budget right now, so we're going to have to pay you in exposure." Like, hey, that's cool, but you can't cook exposure in a frying pan and eat it for dinner, nor is it a currency accepted at most gas stations or banks. And by exposure, she meant Andre's name being in a small print underneath her content. Andre did what anyone in their right mind would do in that situation and refused to work with her, telling her to take that exposure and shove it where the sun don't shine. And at number 1, lied about their wealth. Oh, not enough proof for ya? Well, here you go. As mentioned earlier in this list, Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. Well, it turns out that wasn't really the case. Jenner allegedly sold half of her company, Kylie Cosmetics, to beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. This was huge and considered one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, try not to lie. Especially to Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turns out the cosmetic brand was on a much smaller scale than originally thought. As it was uncovered, Jenner only actually made around $314 million after taxes for the company. Several financial advisors backed up the story, claiming that they were berated into complying with the lie and made to help maintain the numbers for the public. Mother of the family, Kris, even played a key role in gathering false business documents to send to Forbes, making her company appear to be in the billions. Remember, if you can't figure something out, just ask mom.
And at number 10, Kim Kardashian's tape. This is truly the scandal that started it all, and the Kardashians arguably would not be where they are today without the release of this tape. Right before Keeping Up with the Kardashians was set to air on E!, the intimate tape of Kim and her then boyfriend Ray J was leaked to the public and went insanely viral. The Kardashians got in a legal battle to try and get it under control, but it didn't work, and the tape was eventually sold to a media company and released. Kim said about the tape in a 2012 interview, quote, "I'm not naive to the fact that that's pretty much how I was introduced to the world. It was a negative way, so I felt like I really had to work 10 times harder to get people to see the real me. I felt humiliated." In the years since its release, it's been long rumored that the Kardashian family leaked the tape themselves to drum up publicity and a storyline for the show. And if that's the case, it totally worked. And at number 9, Kylie Jenner's lips. Kylie Jenner was once considered the ugly duckling of the Jenner sisters, and she was not treated the same way as the rest of her family. Because of her insecurities, she's gotten a lot of procedures and has become unrecognizable from her former self. However, following all these procedures, she is now considered one of the most beautiful women in the world. Kylie's first procedure was lip injections, and it was hard to deny that there was a huge difference in the size of her lips basically overnight. At first, she denied it and claimed it was all lip liner, but the public isn't stupid, and we all knew it was a lie. Then later in 2017, she decided to fess up to the change and admitted she got lip filler because of an insecurity about the size of her lips. Later, she turned all the talk about her lips into a billion-dollar business, selling her Kylie lip kits, which was the first of its kind. And at number 8, Kim and Kris Humphrey's 72-day marriage. Kim's lavish wedding was considered the wedding of the century, and there was even a 2-part special created on E! To celebrate the big day. But since so much content was created out of the relationship, many questioned if the whole thing was just for show. Those accusations got even worse when it was revealed that Kim filed for divorce only 72 days after their lavish wedding. Kris even sued Kim at one point, claiming the relationship was fraudulent just for press. However, Kim clarified on a May 2017 appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen that she knew the marriage was doomed from the beginning. Quote, "I just thought, holy shit, I'm 30 years old, I better get this together, I better get married." And at number 7, Lamar Odom cheated on Khloe. This one truly breaks my heart because Khloe and Lamar were one of my favorite couples of all time. But sadly, this was when Khloe's bad luck with men would really start. It was revealed that during their marriage, Lamar cheated on Khloe countless times. They were married from 2009 to 2016, and in that time Lamar claims he slept with hundreds of women. He claimed later that he had a sex addiction. Khloe shared her thoughts on the news in a 2016 interview with Howard Stern. Khloe said, quote, "I was genuinely blown away. Like, when did he fit that in? I don't know." Then in an interview Lamar did in 2017, he revealed that after he got married to Khloe, women came out of the woodwork to try and be with him. Lamar added, quote, "If there's one thing I regret when I was married, it was having multiple affairs with different women. That wasn't the stand-up thing to do." Lamar later said he would get back with Khloe in a heartbeat. And at number 6, Kendall Jenner's Pepsi ad. Being in a Pepsi ad is a really high honor, and tons of celebrities like Michael Jackson and Cindy Crawford had the honor to be a part of one. So when the opportunity was presented to Kendall Jenner, she jumped at the chance. But it ended up causing the biggest scandal of her entire career. She was a part of a protest-themed ad in 2017 because at that time the Black Lives Matter movement was being heavily discussed in the media, and there was a lot of tension between protesters and law enforcement. But of course, using an important social movement to sell a can of soda rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and Pepsi and Kendall got tons of backlash. Pepsi pulled the commercial and issued an apology, while Jenner told Vogue in March of 2018 that her quote intention was not to hurt anyone, but it's still a huge stain on her reputation. Halfway number 5, Kendall and Kylie's t-shirts. One of the many business ventures the Kardashians developed was a clothing line for Kendall and Kylie, simply named after themselves. The clothing line was pretty successful until the girls released an incredibly insensitive t-shirt showcasing the faces of deceased artists like the Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur. After the release in 2017, Biggie's mother, Valletta Wallace, called the sisters out on Instagram, writing, quote, "The disrespect of these girls to not even reach out to me or anyone connected to the estates baffles me." Paris Jackson also commented on how tone-deaf the release was. Paris took to Twitter and wrote in part, quote, "As a huge fan of Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Floyd, I mean these bands literally helped shape who I am today. I can't condone this fashion. Legends like these who completely changed our world today, not just the music world, should be respected and honored, not turned into this." A photographer who shot one of the images also filed a lawsuit against the Jenners, but it was dropped in April of 2018, and the sisters pulled their shirts almost immediately. And at number 4, Kim's blackface scandal. Cultural appropriation and blackfishing are something the Kardashians are called out for pretty often. The worst backlash on this subject was when Kim released a campaign for KKW Beauty, and fans accused her of blackface. This is because in the photo, her skin color was significantly darker than what we usually see. Kim immediately took down the photos and apologized. She later told the New York Times, quote, "I would obviously never want to offend anyone. I used an amazing photographer and a team of people. I was really tan when we shot the images, and it might be that contrast was off." Kim then re-edited the photos to be more natural, and the launch went off without a hitch. And at number 3, Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe. Sadly, cheating is something that Khloe has had to deal with throughout her entire relationship with Tristan. At first, when they got together, everyone was thrilled and he seemed like a great guy. But then right before Khloe was set to give birth in 2018, leaked video showed that Tristan was out cheating on Khloe at a club. At the time, she was 9 months pregnant, and sadly she learned that he was nothing but a cheater who was not ready for commitment. A source close to Thompson told us exclusively, quote, "None of his friends are surprised by this and they all know that he cheats." Then more photos came out showing him taking a girl into his hotel room late at night, meaning this was clearly a pattern and not the first time. Khloe decided to stay with Tristan for the sake of her family, but this would not be the last time that he publicly embarrassed her. And at number 2, Tristan cheats on Khloe again. The phrase "once a cheater, always a cheater" is most fitting here, because after getting back with Khloe, Tristan cheated once again. To make matters worse, he cheated with close family friend of the Kardashians, Jordan Woods. After this, Khloe was quick to call it quits. A source said, quote, "This time it hurts even more because the person who it was with is someone who knows very much what Khloe has gone through in the past year." A second insider said that Thompson is, quote, "just a cheater and doesn't care about anyone besides himself, his wants and his needs in the moment." Jordan went on Red Table Talk after the scandal and confessed that they did kiss, but nothing more. Then unfortunately, after some time apart, Tristan and Khloe got back together in August of 2020, but have split again since. And finally at number 1, Kanye's presidential run. This scandal is unfortunate because at first it had nothing to do with the Kardashians, but during one of Kanye's campaign rallies, he spilled some major secrets about his relationship with Kim. The worst was when Kanye exposed that he and Kim almost terminated the pregnancy with their first child, North. A source told Us Weekly that the Skims founder was, quote, "deeply upset with Kanye for talking about their personal life and for making matters that are very personal to them and their family public." Then Kanye went off on Twitter, revealing even more secrets and even accusing Kim of cheating with rapper Meek Mill. 6 months later, Kim filed for divorce. Apparently, the pair had been living separate lives for many months, and Kim was just done dealing with Kanye's unpredictable behavior. So that's off the list, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. But before I go, I'm gonna shout out comments from Secrets Hollywood Doesn't Want You to Know Part 2. Fiona said, poor animals. Yeah, it's really sad to think about what happens, but when you see some of the things that happens in these movies, there's just no way it could be CGI or fake. It's like, wow, like a real animal must have gotten hurt. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore, but definitely in like older, like, you know, 80s, 90s movies, it's gonna be tough to watch from now on. The man has said, hello Mackenzie, how are you? I'm happy to see you again. I'm doing very well. I'm so excited for Christmas. I've blown my budget shopping. I've spent so much shopping for Christmas presents, but I'm very excited to receive and give and do all that fun stuff. MLG Gamer said, yes, I've heard about the animal cruelty because apparently way back when they used to do a thing where horses were tripped during certain chase scenes in movies. Obviously it's gone better over time, but it still exists. Yeah, I can see that where they like trip suddenly during a shot. Like I can think of like horse racing movies. How do they get a horse to just suddenly trip out of nowhere? They might have had to trip them. It's really, really sad.
Number 10. Chloe Grace Moretz. Chloe got into it with Kim when she posted a birthday pic mirror selfie in 2016. Like most things Kim Kardashian does, the internet went crazy with supporters and protesters. Even a ton of celebrities felt the need to chime in and tell Kim how they were feeling. Chloe posted to Twitter telling Kim that she truly hopes she realizes how important setting goals are for young women, teaching them that women have more to offer than just their bodies. Not one to let anything go, Kim responded saying, let's all welcome Moretz to Twitter since no one knows who she is. Shade! Chloe responded a few months later during an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, revealing that she had regrets about giving Kim Kardashian attention, but not for the comments she made. She said she realized that being the most opinionated and loud person in the room is not always the most impactful. This tweet haunted her for years. In 2018, the Kardashians sent her perfume as a gift to her A-list haters. According to Chloe, she didn't even get the perfume, her publicist took it instead. After a few years of being asked about one comment, Chloe had to put her foot down and ask people to stop asking her about it because it's an old and pointless story. Number 9. Taylor Swift. The Taylor-Kim feud has lasted a long time and is extensive. While some may think that the only thing tying these people together is the 2009 VMAs, which is fair, that's far from the case. The 2009 VMA moment, where Kanye interrupted Taylor Swift as she was accepting her award for Best Female Artist, took the microphone from her hand and claimed that Taylor was great, but that Beyonce had the best video of all time. At the time, this wasn't a massive deal, but behind the scenes there was some shady stuff going on. When Kanye and Kim were still together, they were a toxic combination, so toxic that they thought it'd be a great idea to write a song where they literally call Taylor a word that rhymes with snitch and use her name. Later on in 2016, Kanye claimed that he was given permission to use the lyrics and was backed up by his wife Kim after she posted a clip from a phone call that took place between themselves and Taylor. Now, after the internet saw this, it was irrefutable evidence that Taylor Swift was lying, and the online feud quickly dissolved. However, in 2020, the unedited version of that phone call was released, and West did not ask Taylor Swift about the lyrics at all, and Taylor was forced to respond on her Instagram by saying simply that she was telling the truth. At the time they wrote the lyrics and made the phone call, the bit about Taylor being a snitch hadn't even been written yet. Thankfully for Kim, she split from Kanye, but the phone call just proved that Kim is a liar and only wants to be famous no matter what it takes. Number 8. Naomi Campbell. Kim Kardashian has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, from restaurant employees to her staff and supermodels. In 2014, Naomi Campbell appeared on The Morning Show, where she was also asked about her thoughts on Kanye West and Kardashian's Vogue cover. Campbell seemed very hesitant to give an honest answer, doing her best to skirt around the issue while still giving enough information to viewers for them to realize that she was definitely throwing some shade at Kim, literally saying that she did not want to comment. When pressed about the answer, Campbell explained that she is a fashion model and she's been working for 28 years, and when you get a Vogue cover, it is a build in your career. It's a stepping stone to achievement, she said, suggesting that Kim did deserve the cover and had literally no further comments to make. Considering what she could have said, Campbell handled the situation pretty well and with a ton of respect, but bloggers attempted to add fuel to the fire in April 2019 when they started accusing Kardashian of stealing Campbell's most notorious red carpet looks. Kim set the record straight, saying that in this case, imitation was the sincerest form of flattery. According to Kim, herself and Naomi had talked about this before any closed clothes were worn, and the pair also created a short film with Cher in 2020. So either they patched things up or they kept it together for Cher, which I would do as well. Number 7, Bette Midler. Kim's birthday suit mirror selfie caught the attention of a lot of celebrities. One who chimed in just completely out of left field was Bette Midler. Bette is an incredible woman, well known for her music career. She is also a fantastic actor who is probably most universally known as Winifred Sanderson from the film Hocus Pocus. Bette posted on Twitter weighing in on her feelings about Kim, saying that Kim Kardashian tweeted a birthday suit selfie, and if Kim wants us to see a part of her that we have not seen yet, she's gonna have to swallow a camera. That is legendary. What a great roast. Please get this woman on the dais of the next Comedy Central celebrity roast as soon as possible. Kardashian commented back with a joke of her own, asking Midler to send birthday pics of her own, even though it was past her bedtime. Get it? Cause she's old? Ending the comment with the hashtag, just kidding. However, a few minutes later, she posted another, more sinister comment saying, Bette Midler, I really didn't want to bring up how you sent me a gift a while back trying to be a fake friend and then come at me. Kim's terrible, eh? But she did not have the last laugh. Bette responded to the comment telling Kim that she has never tried to be a fake friend. Looks like anyone can take a selfie, but not everyone can take a joke. Which is very true. How are you going to write the first joke about her being old, and then before she even responds to that joke, you comment again saying like, you know what, I wasn't gonna bring this up, but why not? That's a terrible way to start a conversation and a terrible thing to do. Number 6. Pink. A lot of celebrities seem to be upset and annoyed when Kim Kardashian posted that birthday suit selfie, and one of those powerhouse musicians was Pink. She took to Twitter to comment on Kim and her photos, shading her selfie and tweeting a photo of a note that she wrote pertaining to women. She wrote, "Shout out to all of the women across the world using their brains, their strength, their work ethic, their talent, their magic that they were born with that only they possess," and continued that it may not ever bring you as much attention or banknotes as using your body, your orientation, your identity, but women like you don't need that kind of attention. Pink does not hide her feelings, so when she came onto a show called Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, a fan asked her if her post was in fact in reference to Kim Kardashian, and Pink did not hesitate and said yes. Kim had apparently gone in on Bette Midler, and according to Pink, if you mess with Bette, you'll be hearing from the Pink. Number 5, Miley Cyrus. Miley is no stranger to a raunchy post or two, but when Kim Kardashian posted those birthday selfie pics that everyone seems to be upset about, it didn't go over well with Miley either. Her issue was not with the photo itself, but instead of the amount of attention that the photo had received. Miley was even prompted to create her own Instagram post addressing the issue. The pics from Kim became such a phenomenon that Miley just couldn't ignore it, in her words. Taking to Instagram, Miley posted a Kim-moji of Kim Kardashian's famous booty, clearly trying to let everyone know who she was talking about without actually posting any pictures of Kim Kardashian. She also included a caption addressing the feud, calling those involved tacky. Instead of asking the world to just straight up stop celebrating Kim, she attempted to shift the focus to celebrating women in general, posting to her Instagram asking women to celebrate each other, writing, "Why don't we overly fortunate women come together and try to create and bring jobs to other women in desperate need of them, so that they can support not only themselves but their families as well." Kim never responded to that post or showed any support of any kind for Miley, and eventually the world moved on to something else, but the message Cyrus was trying to share is one worth noting. Number 4, Sharon Osbourne. Sharon is no stranger to controversy herself, being fired from her views on The Talk, but that did not stop her from being one of the celebrities that vocally trashed Kim's mirror pics. Sharon even went so far as to recreate the photo herself in support of Kim, writing #liberated. However, while the photo is still up, she seemed to go back on her statement in 2017 when she berated Kim for the revealing photo. She wrote that Kim says she is doing everything in the name of feminism, but that this was not that. She said in reference to the Kardashian women as a whole that these women live off their bodies, half of LA has been through them, and everything they do from the tapes to the plastic see-through dresses and gym wear are all about sex and not female progress. Kardashian responded to the post saying that she never exclusively said that anything was in the name of feminism. Instead, she said she posts body-barring pics because she said, "I like how I look and I feel proud when I've lost all the baby weight," and she posts it because she feels like posting it and feels powerful. Those are her words. Number 3, 3. Beyonce. Considering Beyonce and Kim run in similar circles thanks to their Hollywood connections, their former rap husbands who were friends, and entrepreneurial backgrounds, you would think that these people get along, but apparently that is very far from the case. Rumors about Kardashian and Beyonce's feud started in 2014 when Jay-Z and Beyonce didn't show up to Kim and Kanye's wedding. Fans, being the way that they are, started launching rumors left and right, flooding the internet with possibilities. Two of the big ones were A, that they were too busy, which is fair, and the second being that Rachel Roy, who Jay-Z is rumored to have cheated with, was going to be there. In October 2016, the rumors escalated after a source told The Mirror that Beyonce has genuinely never liked Kim Kardashian. She's apparently tolerated her because of their husband's friendship and mutual friends. Beyonce also can't stand the whole reality TV shtick, which is fair, it's an annoying show. Of course, with it now being 2023 and Kim being long divorced from Kanye, there's a small chance that they've patched things up, but why would they? Beyonce's a superstar in her own right, and now that her hubby isn't connected to Kim, she just can ignore her while Kim continues to do third thing. Number 2, Piers Morgan. Piers wrote an open letter to Kim in 2016 in the wake of her awful Paris robbery when 5 men tied her up and robbed her. While he wrote that he initially liked her after interviewing her in 2011, his feelings towards her had been skewed. In the letter, he wrote something about how Kim had changed since the moment he first met her. She grew slowly coarser, according to Piers, and snarkier, and started bombarding the world with regular X-rated selfies. By 2018, his tirade continued, claiming on Good Morning Britain that time should be up for Miss Kardashian after she posted a topless photo on Instagram. Unsurprisingly, Morgan happened to later be a recipient of Kardashian's Valentine's Day gifts, the only man on that list. The gift only fueled his hatred and criticism, and in September of 2019, he continued his hate when he mocked Kardashian's Emmy presentation with her sister Kendall, where the entire audience openly laughed at the two starlets. Morgan said that compared to the genuinely talented people on stage that night, those sisters looked like idiots. And at number 1, Amber Portwood. One of Kim's earliest feuds dates back to 2011 when she upset a ton of young moms from the TV show Teen Mom. Kim wrote a negative post on her blog about teen pregnancy rates, blaming Teen Mom for making the situation seem cool in the eyes of young women. Clearly she's never seen an episode of that show. There's nothing cool about it. In fact, it's pretty depressing. One of those kids, as she put it, didn't let Kim talk down to them without consequences. Amber posted on Twitter saying that the last time she checked, Kim had an X-rated movie floating around the internet that she made a lot of money off of. She did that, but she wants to bash the girls in Teen Mom. When her sister Kylie got pregnant, she seemed much more supportive of the situation, so it's okay to have a baby when you're young, so long as you're related to Kim Kardashian. May that be a lesson to all of you.
Starting off, we have the Taylor Swift phone call. One of the most iconic VMA moments to ever happen was in 2009 when Taylor Swift was accepting her VMA for Best Female Video. Suddenly, in the middle of her speech, Kanye West stormed the stage and took the microphone from her and said the infamous line, "Yo Taylor, I'm really happy for you, I'ma let you finish, but Beyonce has one of the best videos of all time." Now this created a feud, and it appeared that the pair had seemingly made up in 2015 after being seen together at an award show and posting on social media, but that changed in 2016. Kanye dropped his song Famous, which had the line, "I think me and Taylor might still have why I made that be famous." Now he claimed that he had Taylor's permission, which she denied. However, Kim stepped in to defend her then husband, saying that Taylor totally approved that, and then went a step further by releasing a video of a phone call between Taylor and Kanye in which you can hear them discussing the song in question. Kim then made the internet turn against Taylor and had people flood Taylor's comments with snake emojis. Taylor then went into hiding, but in 2020 it was revealed that the video Kim had posted was edited. Taylor then broke her silence about the video through an Instagram story where she lightly shaded Kim by writing that she was telling the truth the whole time and that somebody, aka Kim, edited and manipulated it to frame her. Since then, a lot of people have turned on Kim and Kanye, and they hate them for trying to frame Taylor. Next up is her robbery. In October 2016, Kim was robbed at weapon point in her Paris hotel room with around $10 million million worth of jewelry being taken. Kim had been staying at the Hotel de Portels for Paris Fashion Week when the masked men broke in. They tied her up and duct taped her mouth and eyes shut. Then, during a sit-down interview with David Letterman in 2020, Kim described the evening as 7 or 8 minutes of torture. Thankfully, Kim did not sustain any physical injuries during the heist, but she was left mentally scarred by the ordeal and had flashbacks and anxiety attacks. It was later revealed that the intruders, a group of men in their 60s and 70s, had been planning the burglary for 2 years before the attack and had used her social media pages to organize the heist in its entirety. French police said that Kim's use of Snapchat may have alerted the robbers to the jewelry that she had with her in Paris, as well as the fact that she was in her hotel room alone. Then there's Kanye harassing her. So we all know that Kim harassed Taylor Swift, but Kanye West ended up harassing her, giving her a taste of her own medicine. On February 7th, 2022, Pete Davidson publicly called Kim his girlfriend for the first time in a video interview with People. "I either just hang with my friends or chill with my girlfriend inside," he casually told the outlet. Then they became more public with their relationship, but in August 2022 they broke up. According to E! News, who first broke the story, the pair's busy work schedules and being long distance contributed to their decision to part ways. Now, part of this breakup probably though had to do with Kanye. It seemed like Kanye was obsessed with this couple. Kanye wrote a song about Pete and how much he hates him, and in the music video he literally ended Pete's life. He bullied Pete all over the internet and went on tangent after tangent on social media about Kim, often leaving her in tears. Now let's talk about North West. Kim's first child, North West, sure is something. She's pretty much a copy of her father, Kanye West. Kim has shed light on North's outgoing personality and admitted that she takes after her father, who is certainly no stranger when it comes to pushing boundaries. Kim said, "Absolutely, I mean North West is Kanye West's daughter. Forget that, she's his twin. She's blunt with her mother, telling her when her outfit looks bad, and she tells people her mom's secrets." Now when speaking about North on her show, Kim said, "North is really special and smart and creative and definitely beats to her own drum. Her personality is really silly." She continued by saying, "Courtney always says that North is my lesson on this planet. It means I'm supposed to learn more patience. She teaches me patience. She has taught me a lot about life." Now it seems like North could be her karma. Moving on to her rough pregnancies. Kim has 4 children, but she only gave birth to 2 of them because of her rough pregnancies. For her last 2 children, she ended up getting a surrogate because it was too dangerous for her. During her second birth, she suffered from placenta erecta, the same condition she experienced with her first pregnancy with daughter North. Now the reality star opened up about her past pregnancy complications in a post on her website when discussing her concerns about childbirth the second time around. She said, "I was able to get pregnant through that with my son Saint, and then I had 2 embryos left. I had the same condition, same awful delivery that I had with my first daughter," she said in the video. "After that, I had to have 5 different operations within a year and a half to fix the damage that all that did on the inside." Now both children she birthed were happy and healthy though, and going for a surrogate for the next 2 was probably a good idea. Then there's being called out for Photoshop. Kim has been called out for photoshopping her photos for years now. Now one of the most shocking times was when she photoshopped photos of her own daughter and nieces, which is just crazy. But some fans were able to spot photos where she removed entire body parts from herself. In August 2022, Kim promoted her collaboration with Beats by Dre with photos and videos of herself enjoying some pool time, but eagle-eyed TikTok users noticed that the reality star appeared to edit out her trapezius muscles. Kim K is notorious for photoshopping out her traps, the user Caroline began in a video. Why? I don't know, maybe it makes her neck look smaller. In January 2022, Kim posted photos from her Skims swim collection photo shoot, only for fans to immediately notice that her leg appeared warped and featured a curve behind her knee. "Kim, what happened to your leg?" one fan commented, while another hinted on Twitter, Kim, your right leg is..." The reality star was quick to delete and then repost the photo without the error, but her followers were quick to take screenshots of the mishap. Now let's talk about the fake flower.
In 2012, Kim created a new fragrance and had a launch party for it, but things didn't go as planned. Someone unleashed a flower bomb on Kim, ruining her outfit and yelling what sounded like "lousy fur hag." Now, at the time of the attack, it was speculated that a PETA activist had thrown the flower, as the organization previously condemned Kim's former love of real fur. But recently, Kim's former media strategist claims that her infamous 2012 flower bomb attack was actually a manufactured media moment. A PR professional who worked with Kim starting around 2005 claimed that the incident was an inside job, according to the British Channel 4 documentary, The Kardashians' Billion Dollar Dynasty. Now, sources close to the situation told the Post that Kim was never aware of the move and placed the blame on PETA, the animal rights organization that was originally speculated to be behind the incident. But it wouldn't surprise me if she was behind this, as her career was just starting out and it would give her more media coverage. On to the Met Gala dress drama. When Kim arrived at the 2022 Met Gala in the Marilyn Monroe dress, she revealed that she had to lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks in order to fit into the gown. Now, following this, many slammed Kim for appearing to promote a toxic and dangerous mindset about body image and weight loss. Now, in Kim's defense though, her trainer maintained that she lost the weight in a healthy way. All of this though got covered up with another scandal, as it was claimed that Kim actually damaged and ripped the real Marilyn Monroe dress. She denied it, but a Monroe collector is claiming that the dress has sustained permanent damages as a result, and frustrations have been renewed. Scott Fortner, a collector who works to authenticate and verify Monroe memorabilia, shared photos of the dress that were taken after the Met that appear to show stretched and buckling fabric, along with missing crystals or ones left hanging by a thread. Up next is being kicked off the stage by Prince. On Prince's Welcome to Tour, which saw the legendary artist perform over 80 shows from 2010 to 2012, he traveled across North America and cemented his legacy with a series of critically acclaimed shows. Now, on the final night of his Madison Square Garden residency, Prince hunted for someone in the star-studded front rows to join him on stage. He then spotted Kim and asked her to join him on stage, and he immediately began dancing around her. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kim hates dancing, so why she agreed to go on stage, I don't know. She laughed nervously while standing in place and clapping for him before Prince instructed her to get off my stage. Kim later discussed the incident during an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, when she told Ryan Seacrest, "I was just so nervous and I was just like laughing. To my defense, like, didn't Prince watch Dancing with the Stars? Like, I'm not a good dancer." Now, following this moment, Prince and Kim would never meet again. He never forgot her performance on stage with him, as he refused to take part in an episode of New Girl alongside members of her family, according to Zooey Deschanel. And finally, we have the diamond earring. In one of the most iconic scenes in Keeping Up with the Kardashians history, the family was vacationing in Bora Bora in 2011. Kim was with Chris Humphries at the time, and he threw her into the ocean while she was wearing her clothes. Kim then noticed that her $75,000 earrings she was wearing were no longer in her ears. She then begins to cry and turns hysterical. When her sister Courtney finds out what happened, she iconically exclaims, "There's people that are dying, Kim." Now, Kim explained years later to People magazine why the earrings caused such a reaction. She said, "For years for my birthday, I buy myself a birthday present, and I had upgraded that pair of diamond studs. I worked really hard, I had just gotten them, and I didn't insure them. And imagine if you don't insure something and it's gone. I just threw the money away." Now, her little sister Kylie did find the earrings, but hopefully it put things into perspective for Kim.
Number 10, worst of the bunch. Of all the members of the clan, Kendall Jenner has been consistently brought up as simultaneously the most relatable and the meanest. She may take up the most points on this list all by her lonesome. As the first and probably most minor complaint against her, a TikTok video where a fan recalled meeting Kim Kardashian in New York City also happened to throw shade at Kendall at the same time. In the video, the TikToker praised Kim for being, quote, "the most polite celebrity I've ever met." Talking about the celebrities that she has met, the TikToker said, quote, "including Kendall, who I can't say the same about." It was interesting how when the conversation was about Kendall specifically, the TikToker made note that, quote, "Kendall could learn a thing or two." The post made its way to Reddit, where other fans joined in on the conversation and their opinions on Kendall. One user wrote, "Kendall has always just given me that reserved, wiry, shy but rude kind of vibe on the show. I wasn't sure if that was her in character." There was also one commenter that claimed to not know a single Keeping Up with the Kardashians fan who had a positive experience when meeting Kendall Jenner in real life. And here's an example of that very thing. Number 9, no tip for you. Back in 2014, a waitress accused Kendall Jenner of skipping out on a $60 bill and not leaving a tip. But wait, when the waitress allegedly chased after Kendall Jenner to get the money, Kendall turned around and threw cash in the woman's face and then laughed. It doesn't even sound like real life. The waitress then took to Twitter saying, quote, "That horrible moment when you chase a Kardashian down the street because she forgot to pay her bill to be thrown money in your face." Kendall did respond to the rumors, but by calling them ridiculous, and she then had her lawyers whip up a cease and desist letter to the server. Nothing kinda says guilt like an instant cease and desist letter. I wouldn't know, I'm just thinking that's what it's like. 3 years later though, Kendall was also not a good customer at a bar in Brooklyn when a server posted a since deleted picture of a bill for just $24 that Kendall had signed but left the tip field blank. Now Kendall responded to this one as well, but by saying that she paid it in cash, but the bar accused her of lying. What are your thoughts on tipping? I know that it's one of the main benefits of waiting tables or bartending, so to skip out on that for me is pretty vile. Number 8, Sugar Factory. All those many years ago, back in 2016, Kendall's younger sister, Kylie Jenner, was at the opening of Sugar Factory in Orlando, Florida. For her arrival, Kylie had around 3,000 of her fans waiting for her, only for them to apparently be disappointed. The official press release from Sugar Factory themselves, of course, had almost entirely positive things to say surrounding the opening and Kylie's participation in it, but one publication, Star Magazine, seemed to see things a little differently. Coming from an insider source, the magazine got reports that Kylie's appearance at the opening was actually, quote, "a huge disappointment," and that apparently she was rude to the majority of her fans. Star Magazine stated that apparently the youngest of the Kardashians/Jenners apparently showed up to the event an hour late, and if that weren't bad enough, she only stayed for about 5 minutes to take a few selfies and then just dipped on out of there, leaving fans dissatisfied and disappointed. Number 7, fitness. For a period of time in like the mid-2010s, Khloe Kardashian was pretty heavily focused on her fitness and getting into shape. Hell yeah, we love living healthily. But going along with that time in her life, Khloe would often post her workouts on social media, specifically Snapchat, for fans to follow along to and get themselves in shape alongside the celebrity. But as usually is the case, there was criticism, and some fans didn't think the videos were all that good. Well, Khloe understandably snapped back on Snapchat in 2017. With the pottiest of potty mouths, she addressed the seemingly impossible to please fans, saying, quote, "What bothers me so much about people is that I'm giving you guys my workouts on my snaps for free." She continued on, quote, "Why the F are you still complaining and saying, if I had a trainer, if I had a gym? Well, I don't have a gym. We're doing everything outside. I'm showing you guys how to do the workouts so you don't need a trainer. I'm using everything that I'm sure you guys have around the house or could improvise. What the F?" To be completely honest, I actually kind of agree with her. To complain that the videos she made out to share her experience and to try and help people who want to work out aren't good enough is kind of just a little rude. But then again, she also said if only complaining burned calories, you guys would be some healthy I can't say the whole of the sentence, but you get what I'm saying? Kinda weighing it out. Number 6, nobodies. Now, we all need to just sit back and take this one with a little itty tiny bitty grain of salt. When a magazine uses the words insider source, more than half the time, it's just someone off the internet or someone who is not actually an insider, and therefore their statements cannot be taken as fact. It's also worth noting that most people have found Kim to be the nicest person of the family when meeting fans. But, that being said, Kim Kardashian allegedly calls her fans stupid little nobodies. According to Star Magazine, in 2012, an insider source, quote unquote, told the publication that, quote, Kris has text and voicemails from Kim where she calls her audience gullible, ouch, stupid imbeciles, ooh, boring little nobodies, yikes, and pathetic people with no lives of their own. Mic drop. Ouch, my feelings are hurt. I'm not a fan, but my feelings are still hurt. Don't be so rude. If you didn't actually say those things though, I'm sorry. And you're great, Kim. You're a great person. Number 5. Well then, I'm sure that most of us can agree that social media, but specifically Twitter, is a cesspool of meme lords, trolls, and keyboard warriors. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Twitter is like a breeding ground for hot takes, upsetting political stances, taking shots at famous people who would never normally give you the time of day, and apparently wannabe sports commentators. Those very same sport fans found a way to both comment on the state of the Cleveland Cavaliers and take shots at Khloe Kardashian in one swift move. One Twitter user tweeted, presumably as a joke, quote, "Cavs haven't been playing too well since Khloe Kardashian. Just saying." That's because Khloe had been in a toxic as hell relationship with Tristan Thompson, who was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. For the record though, it was Tristan that was the toxic one, but in defense of her boo and the team he plays for, Khloe decided to clap back, and in her well-worded rebuttal, Khloe tweeted, quote, "They are #1 in their conference, but thanks for sucking my expletive. Hard enough to think I have that much power. Lick on my expletive while you're at it." I think we can all agree Khloe is truly a wizard of words. A true poet, I think. Very nice. Very good. Number 4, selfie. Last year, Hulu's Victoria's Secret documentary was available for the world to watch, but one clip from the documentary in particular caught some attention, and it was Kendall Jenner, back again, being a true Scorpio. It's a very short clip, but essentially the scene sees Kendall sitting on what looks like a makeup chair with a silk pink robe on, and a group of fans behind her. Basically, Kendall reaches back, takes a phone from one of the fans, snaps a couple selfies, and then hands it back. That's all that happened, but the whole thing was just so funny because, other than the brief moment where she smiled for the selfie, Kendall was not just straight-faced, but she had the stank face on. The one where you really just ain't there to even pretend to be nice to people. That kind of face. I feel like we all know what we're talking about. The fan looked like she was being silently told off when Kendall handed that phone back, and when Kendall turns back to camera with this annoyed eyebrow raise kind of thing, she looks like she wishes she would be anywhere else. Of course, the clip made its way to Twitter where people voiced their thoughts, like this one person who tweeted, quote, "This clip of Kendall from the Hulu Victoria's Secret doc really says a lot about who she probably is." Someone on Reddit added, quote, "That eyebrow raise and look of annoyance is irritating my soul." One more person did make a good point though when they wrote, "It is actually disgusting. They forget that the fans are the reason they have what they have." And that is primarily kinda true, ain't it? Number 3, not in the mood. Now look, being a celebrity, having people wanting to take pictures with you all the time can be very exhausting, and celebrities have every right to say no when they don't want to take pictures with their fans. Point blank. Just as every person is allowed to say they don't want to pose for a picture. In an episode of Kourtney and Khloe Take the Hamptons, Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick are off taking a casual ride through his childhood neighborhood in an old convertible. As is bound to happen, a few girls end up noticing them at a stop sign and they ask if they can take a picture with the stars. Scott was all for it, saying sure, but Kourtney quickly follows up with no! And they continued on with their drive through memory lane. Now Scott apologized to the fans saying, "Alright, sorry, she said no," as they drove off, and Scott is like, "That's not very nice," and she explains she simply didn't want to get out of the car and that she's, quote, "not in the mood for a pic." Honestly, fair, she doesn't have to be, but I think she could have maybe been just a wee bit nicer about it. I don't know. What do you think? Number 2, best spot in the shade. Ever been asked to move so a celeb can take a photo shoot where you were comfortably chillin'? Well, a TikToker by the name of Lizudel called out Kim Kardashian for allegedly booting her out of this really chill area at Revolve Festival that was right by a lake with really nice grass, some decent shade, and it had a fire pit. It was a good spot to get, but it was also a great spot for a photo shoot, and that's exactly what Kim wanted it for. The caption in the clip says, quote, "Right before Kim K kicked us out of this shady chill spot at Revolve," with the caption accompanying the clips reading, "Much love to your photo shoot," which is kind of passive aggressive, so obviously the TikToker was a little peeved about it, but to be completely fair, reactions in the comments were pretty mixed. Some folks agreed and thought that it was messed up for Kim Kardashian to ask anyone to move, but others made a good point. Kim was promoting the brand Revolve that were running the festival in the first place, so these fans reasoned that it's fair that Kim gets to choose where she wants the photos taken. One comment read, quote, "Well duh, they invited influencers. Nobody knows who you are. They're gonna make you move." And that actually seemed to make a little bit of sense to a lot of people, and to me as well, to be perfectly honest. But at the same time, when an area is available publicly for everyone, being expected to move so that Kim Kardashian can take a photo, it kinda sucks. Number 1, even at the airport. We gotta end the list with Kendall Jenner yet again. I'm so sorry. There are just so many more instances of Kendall being less than great with people as there are for any of the other Kardashians. As part of an ongoing series, a former LAX employee has been taking to TikTok, ranking her experiences with some of the many celebrities she's crossed paths with during her years working at the airport. Kendall Jenner was one of those celebrities, and the TikTok did not paint her in a great picture. The former employee described her interactions with Kendall saying, quote, "Every time she flew out, she was not really friendly to anybody and just walked around like really arrogant." Then she slapped Kendall with a 2 out of 10 rating. 2 is pretty good, right? It's 1 more than 1 and 2 more than 0, so I'd say that's something. This TikTok pretty heavily reminds me of the first and second point on this list. I promise I don't have anything against Kendall, she just seems to be the one who consistently gets called out for being a little unsavory with employees and general people. While it's possible these are just instances of negative experiences staffers had with Kendall, the consistency of the bad experiences, coupled with all that we have seen from Kendall and everyone else, doesn't paint a great picture of her or anyone's character.
Number 10. Kim and Drake. Drake is a famous Canadian rap artist, and I've heard he's got a pretty stellar candy room in his mansion. Sounds pretty fun. Recently, Drake dropped a song called Search and Rescue, now available on Spotify. Halfway through the track, the music cuts out and a voice clip of Kim Kardashian and her mother Kris from an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians begins to play. The intention was to throw shade at Kanye West, whom Drake has had problems with in the past, but it only added fuel to the rumor fire surrounding his alleged affair with Kim during her marriage to Kanye. In the clip, Kim says, "I don't come this far just to not be happy. Remember that." On top of this, many fans have brought up Drake's lyrics from his song In My Feelings, claiming that Kiki is actually Kim herself. Hardcore internet sleuths sifted through his lyrics and discovered that if you take the directions that he's rapping about in the song and start at Drake's house in LA, it actually takes you directly to Kim's front gate. Coincidence? I think not. Number 9. Kendall and Bad Bunny. Not long ago, Kendall Jenner was dating a basketball player from the Phoenix Suns named Devin Booker. Devin and Kendall were together for over 2 years, first getting together in 2020. However, in 2022, the couple had a quiet breakup that left fans wondering what really happened to end what seemed to be such a strong relationship. Well, it turns out there may have been another man. Or a bunny, if you will. I'm just gonna show myself out, jeez. Bad Bunny is a popular rapper, singer, songwriter, and now actor, after briefly starring in last year's action comedy Bullet Train as the Wolf. In March of this year, Bunny seemingly dissed Kendall's ex, Booker, in his track Coco Chanel. He rapped, "The sun in Puerto Rico is hotter than in Phoenix." And a few weeks following the song's release, Kendall introduced Bunny to her horse, Arizona, in California. Oh, that's so cute, you named it Arizona. The couple are officially together. Let's see how long this one lasts. Number 8. Devin Booker and Kendall Jenner. Jenner and Booker were first spotted together on a double date with other people. At the time, Booker was dating Kylie's best friend Jordyn Woods, and Jenner was dating Ben Simmons. In February of 2019, it was revealed that Booker and Woods' relationship had fizzled out, but not long after the announcement, Woods was caught kissing Khloe Kardashian's boo, Tristan Thompson. Yeah, this is just gonna be very messy. Kardashian and Thompson split, and with that, Kylie's friendship with Woods was gone. But what that meant was that Kendall and Devin were free to do whatever they wanted. It was confirmed they were seeing each other after multiple sources caught them road tripping together over the summer of 2020. They were together for roughly 2 years before calling it quits in 2022, taking a break to figure out if their future together was actually meant to be. They got back together, but ultimately ended things on good terms in November of that same year. Number 7. Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet. Timothée Chalamet is slowly building his acting repertoire in Hollywood, and so far it's going pretty well. He starred as the lead in Dune, and he was recently announced to be playing a young Willy Wonka in a TV series chronicling Wonka's rise to glory. It was also recently announced that he was seeing Kylie Jenner like every week. While the announcement of them being a couple is a little out of nowhere, the fact is that Kylie has been co-parenting her 2 kids with Travis Scott, and Travis did not appreciate the secrecy. He said that he felt blindsided by the announcement, but he respects her decision to move on romantically. This relationship isn't all that recent, however it was reported that the two may have shared a private moment or two during her marriage to Scott. Neither party have confirmed nor denied the rumors, but just seeing these two in a picture together makes us think that there is no way this relationship is that fresh, right? Number 6. Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson was the youngest cast member on Saturday Night Live when he was hired at the age of 20. He was the youngest cast member of all time. In 2021, Kim Kardashian hosted an episode of the show and starred in a sketch with Pete, parodying A Whole New World from the Disney film Aladdin. The sketch was okay, but apparently sitting that close to each other all week really got them going. At the time, Kim was still involved with rapper Kanye West, who actually attended the live show, but apparently stormed out of the room following her scene with Pete. Apparently, Kanye had been present at rehearsals all week, and he remembers regularly seeing Pete and Kim smiling and laughing together while he was being ignored entirely. Kim and Kanye began their divorce process not long after that show, and simultaneously, Pete announced that him and Kim were official. They were only together for about a year, but it was enough time for Pete to get close to her family and even get a tattoo of her kid's name on his arm, which sounds hardcore, but he has like a million tattoos, so it's probably jammed between like a skull and an MGK portrait. Who knows? Number 5. Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker. Travis Barker is the drummer of the popular band Blink-182. Travis and Kourtney met after Barker had spent some time with the Kardashian crew at her mom Kris Jenner's house in California. Following the official news of their relationship, many fans were quick to comment on the short time between her relationship with Barker and that of her ex-boo, Luka Sabat. According to Kris herself, Travis and Kourtney began flirting while she was still seeing someone. Their connection was so strong from the beginning, but unfortunately that meant the end of one relationship but the start of a new one too. Kourtney appears to be very happy with the Blink-182 drummer, and Luka doesn't seem to have any issues with them being together, so I guess this is a cheating scandal with a happy ending for now. Number 4. Kim and Kanye. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West started dating in 2012 and they were officially married 2 years later in 2014. During their marriage, life was rocky to say the least. While Kim was fairly tame for the most part, as we all know, Kanye was slowly having a mental breakdown. He was posting hate speech and racially fueled tweets and constantly sharing his political views as well as publicly backing Donald Trump. Is it really any surprise that Kim found comfort in another man's arms? While hosting Saturday Night Live in 2021, Kim met Pete Davidson, previously mentioned, while still married to Kanye. Kanye discovered that Kim and Pete began dating following the live show, and it seemed to be the final breaking point. Apparently only a few months before the show, Ye and Kim were constantly arguing about everything. And following the divorce, Kim revealed that she would constantly be trying to help Kanye understand why his views and his words were just so wrong. She wanted him to get better, but instead he doubled down and filed for a divorce. Kim is now happily single and received joint custody of her 4 kids, so it's a win-win for the Kardashian clan, and for Kanye, well, Number 3. Tyga and Kylie Jenner. Michael Ray Stevenson, known professionally as Tyga, is an American rap artist with a long list of bops under his belt. In 2011, he was asked to perform at Kendall Jenner's Sweet 16, and her sister Kylie was smitten. The two would keep in contact over the years, but rumors of them being a couple were shot down constantly until 2012, when he broke off his relationship with fiancée Blac Chyna, also a rap artist. It appeared that the split was due to the revelation that Kylie and Tyga were in fact an item. Tyga looked to Twitter to defend his actions, telling people not to believe the rumors. He's been friends with the family forever, they're all just friends. A year later though, they posted a photo on Halloween of themselves wearing a couple's costume, Chucky and the bride of Chucky. A couple of years went by and the pair were constantly seen together on dates, posted several pictures together on Instagram, and Tyga even bought her a Ferrari on her 18th birthday. They eventually split, and Kylie has moved on a couple of times with her next partner, Party Next Door, who is a person, that is a terrible name, even posting a photo on Instagram comparing his watches to Tyga's and claiming that the more diamonds the better. Alright boys, let's not stand around all day comparing watch sizes. Number 2. Kim Kardashian and Ray J. In this case, Kim was the staff that had the affair. You see, herself and the rap artist shared a 3-year relationship, but they met before Kim was famous while she was working as a stylist for his sister Brandy. At the time they met, Kim was still married to Damon Thomas, but apparently wasn't too happy with the relationship. She took part in an affair with Ray J and called it off with Thomas. During their time together, a certain tape was released online without Kim's permission, and the content contained explicit material of herself and Ray J doing the nasty. She sued the company that released it for $5 million to retrieve the rights and own the film. Following the release of the tape, their relationship quickly crumbled, and it was later revealed that both parties were cheating the entire time. And despite them having the knowledge of that, they just, they didn't care. They just kept doing it. Number 1. Kris Jenner and Robert Kardashian. Mama Kris Jenner met Robert Kardashian at a horse race in California in 1973, and immediately sparks flew. At that time, Kris was in a committed relationship with Cesar Sonato, a pro golfer. He was often gone so long that there were gaps in their relationship, and Robert filled that gap. Kris began an affair with Robert that lasted for quite some time, until one day Cesar returned home early and walked in on the couple doing the no pants dance. Needless to say, Cesar broke it off with Kris right away, but Robert also broke things off with Kris, claiming that she wasn't mature enough for a serious relationship. Yeah, no duh, dude. Robert was basically a mistress. He wasn't much more mature himself. He began dating Elvis Presley's daughter, but that relationship failed too, and Robert ended up returning to Kris's arms. They were married for a little over a decade when Kris proved that she had not matured at all. She took part in another affair, and this time it was with soccer player Todd Waterman. Robert hired private investigators after becoming suspicious of Kris, and he was proven right. So if there's anything to take away from this video, is if you think your partner is cheating, you're probably right. People are horrible now. Number 10. Kim's nannies. Kim Kardashian is arguably one of the most famous of the Kardashian sisters, and it would also seem she's the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and even recently hopped on the podcast train. In addition to filming her new reality show on Hulu. You may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all of that by herself? Well, she pays people to do it for her, duh. She has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than herself. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by a nanny, but Kim would always make her nanny sit at a separate table far away from them when they were in restaurants. But she is known to make her nannies also walk at least like 10 feet away from her at all times. Unless she has multiple nannies with her at once, then she likes to make them stand in like a V formation because it looks cool apparently. If they walk near her or attempt to try and walk side by side, she blows up at them behind closed doors. And needless to say, she has had many nannies over the year and has probably made a lot of them cry at least once. Number 9. Kourtney in general. While Kim may not be the best boss in the world, it's Kourtney who is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, but she's also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a grocery store while she was shopping to compare the prices of a chicken breast. Because, if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney. But this isn't the worst thing she's done. At one time, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit. But instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to act properly, she actually berated the nanny and told her that she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Cause yes, blame the woman that you're paying to raise your child instead of the child itself, who's probably got some kind of an abandonment issue. Number 8. Toxic chemicals. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan, is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, a beauty salon company, which would allow the brand previously only available online and in random pop-up stores to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where those products come from. You see, many employees at the factory that mix and package her makeup have reported that they were never given any proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and faces completely exposed. And workers would regularly report migraines, mild chemical burns on their hands, and a myriad of other symptoms. If this isn't bad enough, they were also forced to act as human test subjects for Kylie's new products. Now, Kylie was very proud of her company not testing products on animals, but we can agree that using people like guinea pigs is like a billion times worse, right guys? Number 7. The underpay. While the Kardashians have had their problems with staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait that the family shares as a unit. They don't like to pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages or overtime hours. The Kardashians don't cover expenses, meaning gas, food, rent, anything that you need is paid out of pocket, with zero money coming back to you. To make matters worse, the Kardashians wouldn't pay them on a set amount of days, meaning you just kinda got a check when you got a check and had to deal with it in between A and B. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the world that they would at least pay the people that help run their lives. Now, while they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their children, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if that staff decided to walk out. The family would crumble in less than a day. Number 6. Factory workers. Popping back to Kylie's makeup factory for a moment, we felt the need to split her misdoings into 2 separate entries simply because of just how messed up this place really is. Not only do they not have proper safety equipment and are basically used as human test subjects whenever Kylie wants, the factory itself is small and cramped, with many employees claiming that there were too many workers and not enough space. This description sounds very similar to, a sweatshop, which is a word describing a workplace in which the employees work ridiculous hours and brutal conditions for nearly nothing for pay. And a lot of people agreed with that statement. One former tester recounts having to constantly go back and forth to the bathroom as her anxiety was always through the roof. She was around so many people so much of her day, and it was such a terrible work environment. We completely understand the need to escape. At one point a few years back, Kylie even refused to pay her employees at a garment factory in Bangladesh, leaving thousands of employees with no money and no idea when or if they were going to return to work. Man, you know what? You suck, Kylie! Number 5. Victoria. Victoria Valero has been Kylie's close personal assistant since 2015, but the pair go back to 2014 when she was interning as a personal assistant for Kylie's mother, Kris. After gaining the family's trust, she was hired as Kylie's house manager at first, but soon after became her personal assistant. Herself and Jenner became very close over the years, and Victoria was even present at the secret birth of Kylie's daughter, Stormi. Now you would think with being so close to the family through thick and thin that she would want to stick around, right? Well, all good things must come to an end, as Victoria decided to quit in 2019. Many fans allege that she had just quit her job to focus on becoming an Instagram influencer, but that was far from her real reason for leaving. Being in that family means seeing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff, and Victoria was basically in charge of scheduling Kylie's life, booking appointments, meetings, massages, all of this stressful enough, basically being a 24/7 gig, but the job was also very degrading, with Kylie having Victoria even pull out a stool once and set it up outside so that Kylie could get out of her car smoother. I think anyone in their right mind would want to get out of that job as quickly as possible. Number 4. Paid in exposure. When Andre Turbia, a very famous YouTube animator and content creator, was asked to work with Kylie Jenner, he thought that his life would change forever. He was under the impression that the collaboration would grant him a huge amount of money, possibly a guest spot on her reality TV show, and maybe some shoutouts online via Instagram and Twitter. However, when Andre brought up the topic of his compensations to Jenner, she responded with, the company doesn't actually have a budget right now to pay you, so we're just gonna have to pay you in exposure. Like, okay, that's cool. You can't cook exposure in a frying pan and eat it for dinner though, and I'm pretty sure it's not currency accepted at any gas stations or banks that I know of. And of course, by exposure, she meant that Andre's name was going to be printed as small as possible underneath her content. Andre did what anyone in their right mind would do in that situation and refused to work with her, telling her to take her exposure and shove it where the sun don't shine. Number 3, GoFundMe. In March 2021, Kylie, oh look, she's back again, shared an Instagram post asking for prayers for one of her makeup makeup artist named Samuel Rhoda. The post redirected fans to a GoFundMe page where they were asking to donate money for covering his medical bills for an upcoming surgery. That's right, the woman made a feature on Forbes' top 60 self-made women and was asking her fans to give over the goods. So why would she not just use some of her billions of dollars to cover the bills herself? Well, she went online to claim that her and Sam didn't actually know each other personally, but she had worked with him a few years ago and thought that he was a sweetheart. Supposedly her current makeup artist had shared a post about Samuel's accident, which included a link to a GoFundMe campaign created by his family. She went on to let fans know that she herself donated like $5,000. Okay, sure, that's a ton of money for us, but for Jenner that's like $5. So something tells me the surgery is going to be a little bit more than that. This is just another instance proving that Kylie is the absolute worst. Number 2, Forbes flub. Oh, I'm sorry, was that not enough proof for you that Kylie sucks? Well, hey, here you go. As mentioned earlier in this list, Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand, named after herself, and Ulta, a beauty salon company. Well, it turned out that wasn't really the case. Jenner allegedly sold half of her cosmetics company, Kylie Cosmetics, to beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. Now, this was huge and considered one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, try not to lie. Especially to like Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turned out the cosmetic brand was on a much smaller scale than originally thought, as it was uncovered Jenner only actually made around $314 million after taxes for her company. Several financial advisors backed up the story, claiming that they were berated into complying with the lie and made to help maintain the numbers for publicity's sake. The mother of the family, Kris, even played a key role in gathering false business documents to send to Forbes, making her company appear to be in the billions. Remember, if you can't figure something out, just ask mom. And number 1, the lawsuit. In March of 2021, a lawsuit was arranged by several of Kim's former employees. The plaintiffs claim Kardashian West failed to pay overtime, cover expenses, or provide any legally mandated breaks, which, like, hey, super illegal. They also never received actual pay stubs or any proof of payment whatsoever. They were also made to purchase everything out of pocket, and one plaintiff was even fired on the spot for simply addressing his concerns to Kim. And when the rest were eventually let go, they received no type of severance package or pay of any kind. It was also uncovered that Kim would keep 10% of all of their earnings for tax purposes, but failed to report their employment to tax authorities. Kim's argument was that she could not be held responsible for any of this, as most of her employees were supposedly hired and paid by a third-party company, meaning that she herself was not technically their direct employer and therefore could not be liable. Kim maintains that she paid people on time and that they were suing the wrong person, but if that were the case, maybe Kardashian would have used some of her high status and influence long ago to make things work for her staff so that, hey, maybe she wouldn't be getting sued right now. Something to think about, Kim.
At number 10, we have Anna Wintour. Their shady feud started back when Anna put Kim and Ye on the cover of Vogue. They were in their wedding attire and flaunting their new marriage. Obviously, a lot of high-class readers were really unhappy about this, and it caused a lot of outrage from people. But Anna clapped back, saying that if she always put tasteful people on the covers, it wouldn't be nearly as interesting. And all the outrage from people got more people talking about the magazine and would boost sales. Well played, Anna. Very well played. And that's not where their feud ends either. Anna was less than impressed with Kim's appearance at Paris Fashion Week, and she was even more upset at the fact that she showed up almost 50 minutes after it began, then tried to weasel her way up to the front to sit next to Anna. So, being the classy lady she is, she moved over a seat and faced her body language away from Kim and didn't acknowledge her existence. Now that's a snub if I've ever seen one. At number 9, we have Scott Disick. There's no surprise that he wants nothing to do with the family anymore, considering he's Kourtney's ex-husband. He was actually a fan favorite while he was on the show, but after they split, things got really awkward and he was no longer invited to events, for obvious reasons. And he refuses to watch the reboot of the show, considering Kourtney is now married to someone else.
Apparently he had some loyalty issues while he was with Kourtney, but that wasn't what split them up. It was the fact that he was constantly struggling with substance issues, and he claimed that the only reason he was unfaithful was because of the substances. One way or another, they have snubbed one another, and Scott has moved on since then. So I guess everything worked out? At number 8, we have Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson is an incredible actress starring in Bridesmaids and the Pitch Perfect trilogy, and she faced a lot of criticism because of her weight loss journey. Something that hasn't changed though is her hatred for Kim Kardashian and the Kardashian family as a whole, really. She was asked to present an award alongside with Kendall and Kylie Jenner, and she refused the offer without hesitation. She said that she didn't want to be compared to Kim Kardashian because Kim became famous from a private tape, whereas Rebel went to school for acting and earned her fame. She went to school in Australia for acting in the early 2000s to the 2010s, and she starred in Pitch Perfect in 2012, which was one of her biggest roles. So you can't blame her for snubbing the Kardashians, who didn't have to lift a finger for their fame when she worked incredibly hard to get to where she is now. At number 7, we have Prince, the Purple Rain singer who is a musical prodigy, so for him to have something against the Kardashians is very interesting to think about. But it started back when he was still with us and touring. Kim Kardashian was up front at one of his concerts, and he spotted her in the audience and called her onto the stage. She complied begrudgingly, and she just kind of stood on the stage awkwardly because Prince expected her to dance. Well, little did he know, she swore off dancing ever again when she was eliminated first off Dancing with the Stars. So she was sticking to that. After a few very awkward minutes, he kicked her off the stage. And even after that, Prince said that the Kardashians would never be invited to one of his parties because he didn't want anything to do with them. That was definitely a blow to Kim's ego, and he even took this snub with him to the grave, considering they never reconciled. Can you blame him really? At number 6, we have Chelsea Handler. She was the host of her own e-show called Chelsea Lately, and it was right up there with Keeping Up with the Kardashians in terms of views. However, in 2014, Chelsea quit because she was just fed up with celebrities, and having to always be talking about them, seeing them, and everything about it just got to her. She named the Kardashians particularly because people always talked about how much they hated the Kardashians, but how they only watched the show to make fun of them. She claimed that that was one of the biggest parts of the problem, and there was no point in complaining about them if you're gonna watch the show anyway. So she left E! And moved to Netflix. Her career has been thriving there, and she is even still blaming the Kardashians for the downfall of modern media. Rightfully so, if we're being honest here. So we can assume she is still snubbing them hard after leaving. At number 5, we have Bette Midler. Bette Midler is a woman of many talents. She's a singer, an actress, and a comedian, and overall quite the iconic character. So not only is she a triple threat, but she also has a deep-seated hatred for Kim Kardashian in particular. Like many other celebrities, she hates the fact that Kim didn't do anything to get her fame, and that people worship her for being a whiny middle child, and an icon of bad choices and fake bodies. But what she hates the most is how comfortable Kim is with showing off her full body online and acting like it's the most normal thing in the world. When Kim posted a fully nude photo to her Instagram, Bette snapped back on Twitter and said that if there was a part of Kim she wanted the whole world to see that we haven't seen already, she would have to swallow the camera. Kim attempted to get back at her with harsh words and snide remarks, but Bette had already won because she did have a better point. After this, we can assume that Bette snubbed Kim since she really had the last laugh. At number 4, we have Amber Rose. Amber has been snubbing Kim for years, considering she blames her breakup with Kanye on Kim. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Back when both Kim and Ye were in long-term relationships, they claimed that they were just friends. And when they both left their long-term partners, they decided that they were single enough to get with one another. But Amber tells a different version of the story, saying that Ye was very secretive and closed off towards the end of their relationship, and he started dating Kim very shortly after. She attributes their breakup to her, but that's not all. She has beef with the other Kardashian-Jenner siblings as well, because she's very close friends with Blac Chyna, who was briefly engaged to Rob Kardashian, and it ended up getting very messy. But when Amber commented on Kylie and Tyga's relationship, saying it was ridiculous, that was where Khloe stepped in, saying that she doesn't need to worry about her sister, considering she has an established career without being an exotic dancer. Amber didn't take too kindly to this and snapped back at her, saying that she was just doing what she needed to do to support her family, just like Kim did. The feud was going on for years, and Amber snubbing the Kardashians is really nothing new. At number 3, we have Taylor Swift. Their history goes way back, and it's incredibly complicated. It started back in 2015 when Kim got herself involved in the Ye and Tay drama because, as his then wife, it was part of her job, I guess. But she made matters worse for herself when she tried to gaslight Taylor because Kim claimed she knew that Kanye was going to use her name in a negative way in his song Famous, whereas Taylor heavily denied that fact. Kim really enjoys leaking things. So she leaked the phone call between Taylor and Ye talking about the release of the song, and everyone sided with Kim for years, until Taylor got access to the real phone call, full and unaltered, and posted it so that she could prove that it was in fact Kim who was in the wrong. But Kim, being who she is, played the victim and said that people already knew what was on the voicemail and it wasn't anything new. What was different was the fact that they never sat down and discussed the lyrics, and Ye released the song without checking with Taylor about the lyric, "I made that be famous," and since then they still haven't patched things up, and Taylor still has both of them snubbed. At number 2, we have Barack Obama. You know you done messed up when the former president of the United States has something against you as a human being. He did take pictures with Kim to be polite, because that's just who he is, but he admitted he wanted his daughters to have nothing to do with the TV show and tried to keep them away from the Kardashians as much as possible, because he didn't want them to influence his daughters, Kim especially. He even said that he told his daughters specifically to avoid the show at all costs, because he didn't want them to think that Kim was a marker for success and that she was giving off all the wrong impressions. Of course, Kris, the momager of them all, did not like this and tried to snap at him. And of course, it didn't do anything, because she doesn't hold nearly as much power as he did. But he made it a point to not only snub the show, but snub them as people after this incident. And last but not least, at number 1, we have Beyonce. Beyonce and Kim aren't friends, but apparently Kim used to go out of her way to get Bey's attention, and usually failed. It started with the fact that Jay-Z and Ye aren't really friends anymore either, because Ye is a little off his rocker and went on quite the rant about the power couple, individually, and it made both of them really unhappy with him. Therefore, Kim was roped into it since she was married to him. But this is about Kim and Beyonce. Fans speculate their lack of friendship is also because of their emotional and personality difference. Kim's entire life has basically been documented, whereas Beyonce is very closed off and likes to keep her personal life personal. Another reason they don't get along is that Kim is very close friends with Rachel Roy, who is an arch nemesis to Beyonce. So you can't blame her for not wanting to be around someone who's like besties with her enemy. Her snubbing of Kim is valid for so many different reasons.
At number 10, bribes. At this point, we all know that the Kardashians have a my way or the highway kind of attitude. They will get what they want by any means necessary, and we've seen this a few times over the Kardashians' respective careers, but one of the lesser known times that this sort of attitude came out was when Kris Jenner was trying to save her short-lived talk show. Mama Jenner dreamed of being a talk show host, but those dreams were sort of crushed when her talk show premiered in the summer of 2013. She got a series of reviews, and when she read them, she came across one that she really didn't like. One reviewer named Linda Stassi from the New York Post wrote a column about the show and called Kris a quote, demented Norma Desmond, end quote. Well, because Kris didn't like what Linda had wrote about her, she decided to send the writer a bribe of a dozen Magnolia cupcakes and a $325 sterling silver pen from Tiffany's, along with a note saying to write a better review next time. In the end though, this bribe didn't actually work because her show was cancelled not long after. At number 9, sweatshops. The Kardashians have faced backlash and scandal many times in the past, so really they're nothing new, but one of their more extreme scandals came from when one of their many clothing brands got exposed. In 2011, a Kardashian clothing brand came under fire after it was revealed that the garments were being produced by Chinese workers being paid 8 cents a day. Can you imagine these millionaires paying workers 8 cents? Insane, right? A non-profit organization called China Labor Watch, a group that fights sweatshops, released this information during investigation into the Kardashian brand. Of course, Mama Jenner came in and stepped in, and she claimed that they didn't know anything about that, going on to say, quote, "The factories are very well policed and meet factory standards," end quote. No one is talking about the factory standards, Chris. We're talking about basically not paying people for making clothes that you're about to sell for $100 a piece. That's the tea. Before we carry on dishing about the Kardashian secrets though, why not take a quick moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, maybe consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Kardashian divorce. Remember when Kim K was married to Kris Humphries? Yeah, that was kind of a blip in the Kardashian timeline, but hey, it still happened. They were only married for 72 days, but it was still messy, and their subsequent divorce was just as messy. The cameras for their show Keeping Up with the Kardashians showed off much of their tumultuous marriage, but the cameras were ultimately cut when it came to their divorce, but it wasn't for lack of trying. Kim wanted to film her goodbye call with Kris over Skype, where she was going to say her final farewells and tell him that she really loved him. But Kris saw right through Kim's attempt to get content out of their divorce and flat out refused, saying that he refused to ever be on another episode ever again. Honestly, I can't blame him for making that decision. At number 7, Nanny knows. The Kardashians have been exposed for a lot over the years by countless people. Honestly, this could be its own video in and of itself, if we haven't already done that. Anyways, one of the people that joined the Exposing the Kardashians club was the family's former nanny. The nanny, a woman named Pam Behan, exposed Kris for her parenting. Although Kris looks like a cool, fun mom, almost acting like one of the Kardashian sisters rather than a parent, according to the nanny, that is all a charade and couldn't be farther from the truth. Turns out that Kris was actually a really mean mom. She said that all of the girls were really shallow and even exposed Kris for being mean to Khloe and criticizing her for being overweight. On top of that, according to the nanny, Kris was also a stickler for healthy foods, saying that she was obsessed with keeping produce in the house, and she even exposed her for having a meltdown when she forgot to pick up broccoli. Now that is a very different side of Kris Jenner that we never get to see. At number 6, private investigator. Back to past Kardashian relationships, remember when Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom were a thing? Yeah, super messy, as most Kardashian marriages tend to be, but this one was ultra messy because it turns out that at one point, Khloe hired a private investigator to follow Lamar around to watch if he was cheating on Khloe. This was something that we didn't get to see on the family's reality show, but apparently the private investigator was hired to catch Lamar with at least 5 different mistresses. But why put all this effort into a supposed cheater? Well, it turns out that there was a specific clause in their prenuptial agreement that if one of them was caught cheating, then the divorce settlement payout would be larger to the other party. This means that with the help of her private investigator, Khloe would be able to get a higher settlement in the divorce. The things people do for money. At number 5, who started the show? The family's reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians has been on air for so long that it almost feels like it has been on TV forever. Obviously, it wasn't actually on TV since like the beginning of time, but it was certainly a staple in a lot of people's homes. This show really boosted the careers of all of the Kardashians, but who had the original idea for the show? Well, that's up for debate. According to Caitlyn Jenner, she wrote in her book that she was the one who came up with the initial idea for the reality show, not Kris, as many were led to believe. In the memoir, Caitlyn wrote that she told Kris about her idea for the show, saying, quote, "The house is awash in puberty and adolescence and young adulthood, and 2 parents with very different styles. It seems to me something is there for television," end quote. She then goes on to say that Kris then claimed to have come up with the idea for the show and then took it upon herself to pitch the show to Ryan Seacrest, and the rest is history. Talk about starting things off on a sour note. At number 4, always perfect. Kylie and Kendall Jenner are the babies of the Kar Jenner clan, and they were pretty young when they started to rise to fame. Because the cameras were always on them, and because they were starting to gain notoriety on their own, their mom Kris decided that they needed to look perfect at all times to make themselves and the family look better in the eyes of the media. In an interview with Cosmopolitan in 2017, Kylie opened up about this dynamic in her young life and revealed that Kris Jenner had nail techs come to the house every week to do the girls' nails to make sure that they looked as perfect as possible. Kylie said that because this was ingrained in her from such a young age, that this just became a habit of hers even going into her adult life, which is why we see Kylie flexing her new nails on the gram. In the interview, she went into further detail about having to look put together all the time, where she said, quote, "My mom would make us do it. She would have a nail artist come to the house once a week. She would make us get our nails done. She was like, "You are never going to look like you're not put together, so we're always getting them done." End quote. At number 3, fake homes. You know how on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, when they start a new scene in a new place, they show the front of the person's house? Well, it turns out that's kind of a lie. The houses that they show in the reality show aren't actually the Kardashians' real houses. In the beginning, they used to show the front of the Kardashians' houses, but soon it became a safety issue as it made it easy for people to find them. Kim opened up about why they decided to use fake houses instead of their real exteriors, saying, quote, "My old home in Beverly Hills was really my home, and I would get people showing up at all hours ringing my gate, and I had to call the police on several occasions. People hopping the gate and scaring me. It was so unsafe. The Hollywood Star Tours would stop by too because they recognized my home from our show. After that, we realized how unsafe it was to show the exterior of our homes, so now we use different homes for the outside for security purposes." Though they do use different homes as the exterior shots, Kim did confirm that they do actually film inside of their real houses. At number 2, original goal. Keeping Up with the Kardashians became a mega hit where people just tuned in to watch the drama unfold with the Kardashians. I would be lying if I said that this show wasn't secretly my guilty pleasure. It's just so chaotic and I love it. But it turns out that the original purpose for the show wasn't just to simply keep up with the Kardashians. They had ulterior motives. According to Mama Kris Jenner, the original purpose for the show was to bring attention to the Kardashians' clothing stores Dash and Smoosh. Their store Dash became the focal point for their reality show spin-offs like Kourtney and Khloe Take Miami and Dash Dolls. During an interview with Variety in 2015, Kim shared how they wanted to use the show to grow their business, saying, quote, "When the opportunity for our TV show came about, I wanted to do it to bring attention to our stores. I was thinking this might not last very long, but will grow a great business and expand online. I thought it would be great press. I didn't think it would turn into what it turned into." End quote. Their stores ended up closing in 2018, but at that point they had so many other things going on and the show wasn't even boosting their business anymore, so really, who cares? And finally, at number 1, new phones. Even a pandemic can't stop the Kardashians from creating content. The 19th season of the reality show was filmed over the course of the lockdown, and it was all done from the inside of the Kardashians' mansions. How they managed to pull all of this off is a little crazy though. Because camera crews weren't considered to be essential workers during California's stay-at-home orders, the Kardashians had to get creative, and so they created a system where every week someone would bring them a new iPhone to film on. They had proper sets built in Kim and Khloe's homes with lighting and the whole 9 yards for their confessionals, but yeah, I still can't get past the iPhone thing. Apparently, a showrunner wearing head-to-toe protective gear would come to the Kardashians' home on Monday morning to bring them a brand new iPhone to start the next cycle of filming. These Kardashians are so crazy.